Happy Monday and welcome to another sneak preview. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
I'm Caleb Butcher.
And Happy New Year. As per tradition, we'll be using today's show, the first episode of 2022, to list our personal top 10 favorite films of 2021. Before that, we'll also be listing our top 5 worst of 2021, considering we both saw a shit ton of last year's films. Be ashamed to waste all that fertilizer. Today's show is going to be fun. And going forward, we're going to be a bit more selective about what we see, which we think will streamline the show for a new year. New year, new batch of potential future classics. I'm hopeful. I think, last year was fucking crowded because we had a lot of 2020 runoff. This year, a lot more stable in the box office. So I think we're going to be able to not have to cram everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still going to be the occasional delayed film we'll be seeing this year in 2022. So I mean, you still off the top of my head, you still have the Batman. They got delayed so much. You got Jackass Forever that's now finally coming out. Black Phone's been delayed multiple times. So there is still some residue, but nothing like last year, which makes me happy. But with that said, yeah, I can't watch that. I'm out. Especially because I look at what's coming out, especially just horror alone. I look at what's coming out. We got some big name franchises coming out now this year alone. I mean, you got Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you got the new Hellraiser supposed to be this year, you got a new Purge. It's a lot of the big hits are coming. So it's yeah, I'm gonna watch what I'm interested in. And sorry, I'm not rushing to see what I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, it is something that's just kind of happened with all of our shows. We start out with a certain vision and the show is adjusted as needed. Filmgazm, Oscar Sunday, sneak preview, everything's had to kind of just be morphed into what it needed to become. I feel like Beyond the Bad's going to be our first show that's pretty complete out the gate, but that's because we've learned from the other 3 shows what we need, what we don't need. And, it's a learning process. Sneak preview is no different.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't think the release schedule is going to be crazy this year. Not like 2021. Like I said, they'll be. I mean, and not even just some movies. I'm a gamer, and there's still games that are finally coming out this year that got played constantly because of the pandemic. So we're still seeing the effects. I know everyone's worried. Well, 50-50 worried, not worried about the Omicron variant apparently. So it's it's interesting. But I'm like you. I think we're going to see a lot more of the beginnings of stable releases.
Yeah, I think so, which will be nice, especially for us, because we want to try to cover a wide variety of releases. That's what the show's all about, following the current film calendar. But when it's all shit, we got to pay for these movies. We don't want to pay for shit. It's a movie ticket a week is expensive, and sometimes we're seeing 2 or 3 films a week. It's it adds up.
I finally signed up. There's a cinema 5 minutes away from us. I finally just said fuck it, and I signed up for the movie club, so that at least 1 ticket a month is on them. At
Smart.
the least, yeah.
I was part of the Draft House Victory program, which I do like. You get we used to get perks, but I was informed that they're no longer offering perks because they can't afford to give us free shit right now. Which kind of defeats the whole purpose of the movie club, but it is free. So I get it.
Yeah. I was holding out for the AMC one because I had an AMC where I lived in Washington. So I think they do there's $20 a month and it's 3 free movies a month. It's an insane number. I remember thinking that would be awesome. So I pretty much for the most part average probably would be I could go months just seeing nothing but free movies with that. But alas, there's not one close to Cinemark, and I was well, I'll just do theirs and take whatever deal they got.
Yeah, I've got an Evo by my apartment, and then I go to Santikos a lot, which is a little San Antonio-based theater chain. They've got a reward program I got to look into. I'm there a lot, especially because they have a lot of the indie stuff that no other theater has.
Yeah, I remember it's funny how MoviePass flopped and just died, and then all the theaters oh, we'll just do our own.
I remember MoviePass. Yeah, that was huge for 3 weeks, and then it just completely vanished. Yeah, I remember that.
the theater companies effectively like killed it, so then they could just turn around and do their own thing.
I haven't heard that in a long time. That's funny. Oh,
I remember.
Yeah. Going forward, going to be more selective. Going to, kind of turn this into like, the best of the year. Not just everything, but like the stuff we actually give a shit about. It enhances the conversation and it's easier on our wallets. Let's be honest.
Yes, and and for me, like it pushes, like I know you're talking about, like to actually see what like the streamers are putting out, and I don't mean like Netflix because they're so like hit and miss for the first like 9 months of the year, and the last year they put out all their Oscar contender stuff.
Yeah.
So funny to me. But things like and I even Prime really, but like Hulu, whenever they put out their comedies, because they seem to be really good with comedies. Vacation Friends and Point, if anyone hasn't seen that yet. But things like Shudder and Paramount Plus, when they put stuff out, they tend to put really good shit out, but because they're such like, especially Shudder, really niche streaming services, you don't really hear about them a lot. So it's a chance to kind of see what they put out and talk to me about that a little bit more than the fact that everyone knows there's a new Marvel film coming out. Everyone knows there's a new Scream coming out, for God's sakes. Like,
yeah, you're not wrong. We have an opportunity here to kind of embrace the niche films and the lesser ones, that everyone knows that, like the Batman is going to be huge. We all know that, but like what else is coming up? Let's check it out.
Yeah. Like I know for a fact there's one it's supposed to be coming to Shudder this year called The Spine of Night that looks really, really cool. It's like in vein of the movies like Heavy Metal and the old I hope I'm not fucking his name up, but Ralph Bakshi animated movies from the 80s. Like it's in vein of that, like, and it looks fucking sick, and Shudder picked it up to put on their service sometime this year. They have not put out an exact date, just says it's going to be a 2022 release.
Yeah, see, stuff like that. So we're going to definitely have, our ears to the ground, try to be a little bit more open, whatever. New year, new show. So brace yourself. But, some things don't change. For example, let's take a look at what happened last week in film. Last week in film. This is going to be fairly brief. We've got one trailer and 2 tragic deaths to discuss this week. Other than that, it's been a pretty slow week. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way so we can do some top 10s. The 3rd trailer for The Batman dropped. The film comes out March 4th, and this trailer gave us our best look yet at Paul Dano's psychotic take on the Riddler, as well as Zoe Kravitz's take on Catwoman. The more I see about The Batman, the more I get excited. Like, this looks like Matt Reeves has perfectly captured the tone of Gotham City, of Batman, of the supporting characters. The cast is lights out. Pattinson especially just feels like the perfect Batman. I mean, this thing looks so just right,
Yeah, no, I stand by what I've said 1,000 times. Like, I'm tired of seeing the trailers, even the movie, because it looks so damn good. And yeah, I mean, this one just continues to make me really want to see this movie. And not even the cast in general. I mean, Robert Pattinson. Like I said, I've been defending as Batman. Looks like Zoe Kravitz is going to kill it as Catwoman. And it looks like God damn it, Colin Farrell. Oh my God, my blanks. Colin Farrell looks like he's going to like steal the show as the Penguin. Like it's just insane how good this movie looks, and I'm just really need it to be March so I can see it.
Yeah, we don't have that long, 3 more months. Then we get to do our big old Batman extravaganza on our 4 shows. It's gonna be so much fun. Now for the sad news. First up, Oscar-nominated filmmaker Jean-Marc Vallée has died at 58 years old from a heart attack. Vallée was nominated for Best Film Editing for the 2013 biopic Dallas Buyers Club, which he also directed. Vallée has also directed The Young Victoria, Wild, Demolition, as well as episodes of Big Little Lies and the miniseries Sharp Objects. And this was a shock, a heart attack at 58. That's that's too young. And he was definitely a powerhouse. Dallas Buyers Club was a fantastic movie. I have not seen his other work, but I've heard good things about all of that stuff. Yeah, this is a loss. Damn shame.
Yeah, I was actually genuinely shocked by this when I saw it. I was like, 'cause he was only 58, and I was like, what the fuck? And apparently it was like they're saying it's a heart attack or something. I was like, what? Like it was generally shocking. I have seen Dallas Buyers Club. I really liked it. I thought it was actually a pretty solid movie. Remember that was the movie that I was using to defend Jared Leto as the Joker for the longest time. I was like, you guys gotta watch Requiem for a Dream and Dallas Buyers Club. He'll crush this. And then the movie came out. But yeah, a loss. Definitely an unexpected loss.
Yep. And unfortunately, it was overshadowed. We ended 2021 on the saddest note possible. We lost Betty White. The iconic comedic actress and Golden Girls star passed just 17 days shy of her 100th birthday, leaving behind a remarkable legacy and millions of fans worldwide. In addition to starring in the Golden Girls, White appeared in such films as The Proposal, Lake Placid, The Lorax, Hard Rain, and an endless plethora of TV appearances, including starring roles on The Mary Tyler Moore Show, The Golden Palace, Hot in Cleveland, and of course, The Betty White Show. She will be missed. She was one of the most beloved celebrities in history. And this was such a shock because we all kind of just assumed she was going to be there forever.
Yeah. It really, I wasn't ready. And it's weird because she was 99, like she was up there in age. And I was so just like, no, not Betty Wright. No, you cannot take Betty Wright from us. Do not do that. And yeah, it hurt. Honestly, it hurt. It was like she was a legend. She was an icon. I mean, I think we can all say that we've grown up seeing Golden Girls. I know my mom loved that show, so I saw tons of episodes as a kid. She was legitimately one of the funniest parts of that show. She was hilarious. I actually really liked her in The Proposal also, and she fucking kills in Lake Placid. That's actually one of my favorite roles she did was Lake Placid, and how she's just a complete bitch to the cops and the main characters with the "I hope my alligator eats you," and she was a true a gem, American icon, national treasure. Any term you can think you could apply to her, and it's truly a loss felt on that one.
Yeah, globally. I mean, everyone's kind of like, really, 2021? That's how you're gonna fucking end? You're gonna kill Betty White? Like, seriously?
Give us a little time for 2022. Like, God.
But other people were like, Betty White would have absolutely wanted to have died right before a 100th birthday extravaganza, just to give people that moment of like, really? Like it worked with her sense of humor, according to those who knew her. And I keep seeing people say, similar things like this, which I agree with is, don't be sad she's gone. Be happy she was here, which is a great way to kind of look at her. She lived a full life. She changed the game. She was a comedy legend. And, I think the world's a lot better for her being here. So celebrate the work, celebrate her, and, God bless.
And thank you for being a friend.
Well said.
Oh, I could not say it at some point.
Yeah, it's perfect. Oh, man. Rest in peace, Betty White and Jean-Marc Vallée. Thank you for the work. So we all know what today's show is going to be about, top 10 of 2021. But before we talk about the best, let's discuss the rest. Here's our top 5 worst films of 2021. Now, if you've been following this show since the beginning, since the first week of January 2021, it has not all been gems. We have watched a lot of shit for this show, like more than we ever have on more than I think we'll watch on Beyond the Bad, because at least we know what we're getting into on that show. Here, it's going to be a gamble every time.
This is true. I have tempered expectations on that show. Plus, I make the schedule for that show anyway. So
I don't even make this. Nobody makes a schedule for the sneak preview. It is what it is. Hollywood makes the fucking schedule. We just react to it. So, we we sifted through a lot. So we decided, let's talk about some of the worst films we had to watch this year. Why don't you start us out with your number 5?
I will. I'm going to start with a director that I know you don't want to hear about anymore, but we're going to do it in the best possible way right now. A man you can't escape because Netflix won't let you escape him. Number 5, Army of the Dead. I fucking look. I will defend his Dawn of the Dead remake, 300, and Watchmen. I'll defend those 3 films because I do like those 3 films. After that, he became incredibly hit and miss. I actually own his animated album movie. I always forget the title, and it's a fine movie. It's nothing great, but it's nothing bad either. But man, when he got a hold of the keys to DC, for whatever reason they gave him the keys, it's like a Michael Bay touching Transformers and what the fuck happened type of thing, where he just became, to me, a fucking terrible director. And just but it was as he became that, the fan base grew stronger. So he couldn't, there's no one around him and tell him your movies kind of really suck, bro. Because he has such a rabid fan base. And I remember all these people were like, oh man, Army of the Dead, new Zack Snyder, it's gonna be awesome. And honestly, I remember watching thinking okay, if he goes back to Dawn of the Dead aesthetic here, he could have something on him. It could be a fun movie. When I booted it up and I saw that fucking runtime, I thought, oh boy, okay, 2.5 hours. You better fucking give me gold here. And he had me at that opening scene, and then the title sequence was a lot of fun. I thought, okay, cool, we're on to something. But then after that title sequence, the film just, to me, nosedived completely. And I just sat there for the next 2 fucking hours hating this fucking movie. I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care about what the fuck was anything that was happening in the plot. I thought the ideal he presented with the zombie and the hierarchy was actually pretty cool, but there was no rules established. There was, even after maybe all this shit he was on, saying maybe it's a time loop, maybe there's robots, and I was none of that was established in the movie. So it just felt like he was just throwing shit in there that seemed cool to the point. And then to the point was I don't give a shit, man. And then to sit there and what was it? There was one character that also had pronounces her love out of the fucking blue to Batista, and then promptly gets killed. It's just this movie was just a slog to sit through. And I think I hated it more because after I saw it, so many people came to me dude, did you see Army of the Dead? Yeah. What do you think? I didn't like it. Really? I thought you would like that. That was so much fun. I was well, I fucking hate it. So yeah, number 5 for me. Army of the Dead. Would you like to rant about Zack Snyder now, my friend?
I think I've ranted enough. 2021 saw me rant about Zack Snyder quite often, to the point where I had to kind of sit back and be okay, maybe if I just don't look at him, he'll go away. And what does he do? Fucking spin-off prequel, Army of Thieves, that we went out of our way to not watch because this movie pissed us off so much. It didn't make my top 5, but that's only because I saw stuff that was substantially worse. And I also just didn't want to fucking talk about him again. But I knew you were. I figured you might have that, so I knew it was gonna come up. But yeah, Army of the Dead was way too long, disappointing, poorly written, and just another hack movie that this guy keeps getting greenlit to make. Like you said, he's got a rabid fan base that is so weirdly loyal, but for no real they've got nothing to show for it. It's like a toxic relationship.
Yeah, and it's so weird because they weren't there when he was making films that we liked. They weren't there for 300. They weren't there for, actually, they were very much not there for Watchmen because everyone shit on that movie. I thought it was a good fucking movie. And they weren't there for his own Dead remake. But then when he did DC, it's all of a sudden that's what people were latching onto. It's oh, Zack Snyder's DC. And for me, Man of Steel reeked of someone trying to impress Christopher Nolan. And when I saw behind the scenes on that movie, that's exactly what it fucking was. I was I don't give a shit about your movie now. I actually like your Man of Steel less because you were not really trying to make a Superman film. You were just trying to fucking jerk off Nolan. Like, wow, dude. And then Batman v Superman is also too fucking long. It takes way too long to get to the fucking story, like the fight we want to see, and then there's the whole Martha bullshit that's been memed to death. I'm not going to really touch on that any longer. And then Justice League, like, again, glad he was able to come back and, like, in the circumstances of why he left, and he got to complete his vision. But me personally, man, like, I didn't need a 4-hour Justice League. It just felt like the biggest, like, jerk off session to me. I was like, this is so fucking, like, I don't need this.
Yeah, you're not wrong. The Snyder Cut is the longest film I will probably ever watch. I mean, that was, I liked it personally, but as I've often stated on this show, my experience with that film is tainted by a good experience with my father. So did not make my top 10, even though I did like it. So don't expect any Snyder Cut love going forward. I think that's enough for Zack Snyder and Army of the Dead. My number 5.
At least I put it at 5, so it's out of the way.
Yes, it's gone. We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, everything else below it, I hated significantly more so.
My number 5 is something I was looking forward to because so far, the Russo brothers have really shown their ability to manage a big project, with Infinity War and Endgame both being phenomenal. And also Tom Holland has shown his strengths as an actor by playing Spider-Man. You combine them both into a drug war coming of age heist drama, and you've got a complete disaster. Number 5, Cherry. Apple TV Plus, it was one of their big ones last year. Those who did watch it fucking hated it because this movie is like 6 different movies crammed into 2.5 hours, and none of them connect. Tom Holland is this kid who they call, I don't think he's ever got a name. Cherry is like a nickname, I think. I don't even remember. And he is he falls in love with this girl. She breaks up with him to go to college. He, in a fit of despair, joins the army. And then the next day she's like, hey, I decided not to go. I love you so much. And he's like, but I joined the army. And now his life is completely fucked. He goes to the army. He gets involved in some shit, gets PTSD, comes back, is all fucked up. He gets on drugs, and he and his girlfriend, now heroin addicts, decide to start robbing banks. This is all one movie. It's crazy. It's 2.5 hours. The characters are so over the top. It's disjointed. It's boring. And it's just a complete misfire. And I hope the Russos can do better because we've seen them do better. So I don't know what happened here. But number 5, Cherry.
I haven't seen this yet. Not because I've avoided it. Its reception, what I've heard, hasn't helped. I just don't have Apple TV Plus because I've literally gotten to a point where I'm like, I am not subscribing to any more fucking subscriptions. Like, I think like Boy Scouting is partnered to do like Screenbox, which is now a horror streaming site. I'm like, nope, I got Shutter. I'm fine. I'm done spending money on streaming services.
I got Apple specifically for this show, and I used it maybe twice. Their output is so fucking light. It really, I don't think it's worth it. But $5 a month, what's $5 a month? I mean, I don't care at this point. I want to watch Macbeth, so I'm going to keep it for at least the next month. Oh, what's your 4?
All right. My number 4 is the third fucking attempt at doing this franchise, and I don't know how they mess it up. There's a whole goddamn set of toys and a cartoon from the 80s you can use for God's sakes. But instead, they opt not to, apparently. And then they say, let's take the most silent, famous character and make him talk and make a really shitty movie in the process. And that's number 4, Snake Eyes. Here's the 4 title. Snake Eyes, a G.I. Joe origin story. I can't remember if it's story or not, but
I think it was just G.I. Joe Origins.
There you go, G.I. Joe Origins. Oh. First off, it does not deliver on that part of the subtitle, in case anyone is wondering. You get no G.I. Joe Origins. But everything on this film is a complete fucking misfire. I know a lot of people are bitching because I know I just made the comment, like, you take a silent character and they made him talk. They could have pulled that off. They really, really could have. I think there is an absolute way to pull that off. But not with the actor they picked. His accent was slipping. And usually, like, I'm not one to, I really am. Like, people always point, like, their accent slips. I'm like, I didn't notice. I noticed in this one. So like something I usually don't. I fucking know. I'm like, nope, he's not talking American right now. No, he's talking British right now. What the fuck? Like he could not hold it. It was annoying. They completely dropped the ball on his and Storm Shadow's rivalry. That shit's dropped. They attempt to make Snake Eyes a like double, triple, quadruple agent. Like he's actually working with the Yakuza, and like it's so weird. And like to me, that felt like why would you go that route with Snake Eyes? Like he's one of the most like notoriously like good loyal members of the squad. So I don't know why that was out. And then the last, like the other main thing they really fucked up on that should have been a saving grace. And it really bugs me because we live in a fucking post-John Wick world, for God Christ's sakes, people. The martial arts, Snake Eyes is very well known for that in the cartoon, in the comics that they have done. Like he is known for that. That's Snake Eyes. So if you're going to do this movie, you better fucking deliver on the martial arts. Dear God, do they not? It is like take like the Raid 2 size fights, except take away all the really good editing and obviously the R-rated violence that goes with it. And you got Snake Eyes. Like they just shake the camera and they fucking edit around because you can like they're clearly weren't trained well enough, in my opinion. Like it was some of the worst fight scenes, and well, I won't say some of the worst. There's another film on here I'm going to talk about that also had some pretty bad fight scenes. But yeah, this film was just a complete, total misfire, and I hated every second watching it. The only saving grace for me was Samara Weaving. That's only mainly because I have a huge crush on her. So.
Snake Eyes. Oh boy. I've never been that big a G.I. Joe fan to begin with. And I really only saw this movie because at the time I was taking an all or nothing approach to this show. And Army of the Dead, at least, was at Netflix. I could, just watch that at home. I had to go pay for Snake Eyes. And what a fucking disappointment. Everything you said was true. The slipping accent, the terrible fight scenes, the nonsensical plot, the flip-flopping, all of it was ridiculous because they had like nothing to mine. They just made it up on the fly. And
the thing is, they do have something in mind.
That's true. They got, I guess the toys had backstories.
The cartoon, and also Marvel did a whole bunch of comic runs on G.I. Joe. So there actually is like established thanks to the comics background on these characters. So it's there.
That's even worse then. Samara Weaving, I get it. But Rachel Nichols in The Rise of Cobra. That's all I got to say.
I did. I'm just saying I have a crush on her, so it was like the only saving grace. And I felt she was severely underutilized in the movie anyway. Like the whole
G.I. Joe and Cobra were like totally shoved into this thing just to have it be a G.I. Joe movie. Storm Shadow, like, I get it. I would want to kill this guy too. I mean, he shows up, he completely destroys everything that you stand for, and then you are exiled.
Yeah, like again, you're supposed to make Snake Eyes supposed to be the good guy. Like that's the thing. Snake Eyes is the good guy. Essentially, Storm Shadow is the bad guy. That's where they always like came into conflict. But they somehow like reversed the living shit out of that in this movie.
God, yeah, that was horrendous. Snake Eyes, and then also he becomes fucking Snake Eyes in the last 30 seconds of the movie. Oh God, yeah. Let down. Totally get why it's on yours. It did not make mine, but it could have.
Yeah, I hate sitting through this movie. It was
number 4. I knew was gonna suck going in, but like I said, all or nothing. I've never been the biggest Mark Wahlberg fan. I've been very vocal about that on one of these shows. I don't remember which one I had the big Mark Wahlberg rant. It was probably this one.
I like some of his movies, all right?
I like his movies, but him, I don't like.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, I like his movies. No, that's fair. Fair point.
Yeah. Infinite on Paramount Plus. a blatant Highlander remake that would refuse to admit it. Paramount Plus's latest attempt at trying to make people pay attention. If this is the quality of film they got going forward, they can fuck right off. Because this movie was absolutely the stupidest thing I watched this year. I don't even remember the story. It was like there's certain groups of immortals, like the good ones and the bad ones, and the bad ones just want to die. But if they die, they kill the entire world for some reason. And Mark Wahlberg is like the latest reincarnation of this like super warrior who's supposed to save the world every generation. And they have to reawaken his memories so he can, fight the super bad guy. It was ridiculous. It was based on a book that like the guy had to blackmail somebody into publishing or something like that. There was some weird story behind how this movie got into Paramount's hands. And it's they're still advertising the shit out of it because they've got no other movie to promote except for Paranormal Activity, which people have already given up on. So this is just one of the biggest obvious disasters this year, and a movie I probably shouldn't have watched anyway, but I did, and now it's in here. So number 4, Infinite.
Yeah, what's fun about Paramount Plus? Their TV output's great. I've watched a lot of their shows on there, and they have solid shows.
Yeah, I won't argue that for sure.
Yeah, so their TV output's outstanding. It's their movie output that's hit and miss. I know you haven't seen it, but I do recommend Reno 911: A Hunt for QAnon.
Yeah,
that was like legit pretty good. So like it's their movies. Their movies very hit and miss. Like they have the occasional one like Reno 911, but for the most part, it's like going on Activity Next of Kin, which like I said, people are pretty done with that franchise. It seems unlike Saw, it doesn't really seem to have a chance to come back. But even then, like from someone like myself who's like, what, let's give it a shot. These franchises always have a way of coming back anyway, so I'll be open-minded about going in. And even I watched way going, yeah, no, that was bad. That was really, really bad. I remember I haven't seen this yet, but I do, and a lot of it is because because of you, because I know how much you hated this film. Like, I'm surprised it's even that high up on your top 5s, because you have sounded like you have a personal vendetta against this movie you hated so much.
I remember it was the episode that Austin and Brianna did with me on Sneak Preview, where we did In the Heights, I think it was, and Infinite was one of the ones I had watched additionally, and I went off on that movie for quite a while. So, yeah, I get it. The other 3, though, pissed me off in a special way. So, two of which I think you might have to as well. So,
possibly.
Let's see where this goes. What do you got?
I'll say this. My number 1 did piss me off in a special way, and you know it. For my number 3, though, this is a film that I don't think I've ever felt more trolled by a director than when I went to go see this after the high I was on of like, oh, he's back. He's making new movies. That would be M. Night Shyamalan's Old. Sorry. M. Night Shyamalan's Old. Wow. Like I said, I was really on board starting with The Visit. I was like, okay, Shyamalan, you're making good films again. And then, like everyone else, I love Split. I liked Glass. I know there's a lot of people that don't like it, and it does have its issues, I'll admit it. But I liked it. And when I saw advertised for this, I was like, okay, you have me. Like, you've been doing good. Let's do this. I remember sitting in the theater, and the audience was so clearly disinterested. It is filled with all the Shyamalan-isms of his mid-career movies, but like dialed up to 11. Like, horrendous line delivery, horrendous dialogue. The Asian character, like, dear God, I don't know why he was yelling constantly, but I swear to God, he was yelling every single line that came out of his mouth. The rapper had one of the worst rap names I think I've heard in my life. I think it was like not Ice Cube. That's an actual good rapper. It was something stupid. Was it like Minivan or something like that?
Mid-size sedan. That's what it was.
There we go. Yeah, it was so stupid. I'm like, okay, so Shyamalan clearly doesn't listen to rap, because I don't think any self-respecting rapper is picking that for their name.
Yeah.
it had the weirdest like camera movements. Like I'll never forget how like they'd be standing in a circle talking and the camera just would not stop moving. I mean, it was just to the point where I'm like, why? And then like, and I know I'm gonna swipe up, but like the way shit happens in this movie is so fucking weird and not in a good way. Where like you have children that have aged rapidly into teenagers, but they're mentally still children. They have sex, and that is like quick. First off, that's kind of gross, but then it's just like quickly, like just kind of like done and dealt with, and then they move on to the next thing before you even have time to grasp it. And it's not just that; he does it constantly throughout the fucking movie, where it's like something happens, and then we quickly move on, so we can really like soak it in and take it right. His twist, which if you don't think is going to happen, you clearly haven't watched enough Shyamalan. I would say is one of his worst twists, if not his worst fucking twist. Like it was a horrendous, lackluster, depressed, like just terrible twist. I hated it. The only minute thing I can take from this film is when Abby Lee horrifically does that shit to her body because of her calcium deficiency. And you see it for like a brief second. That part was legitimately like creepy, but like I wish that 1 second I saw was the entire movie because what I got was hot garbage.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Number 3 is old for me as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I don't know who in Hollywood keeps giving him second, third, fourth, fifth chances. It's ridiculous. At this point, you got to know this guy's not a sure bet. You got to know that. He's a shit writer. I don't think he's ever had a real conversation in his life. He doesn't know how people talk.
No, the way people were introducing themselves. Hello, I'm John. I am a doctor. Thank you. Thank you for that info.
Yeah.
I can swim. I used to be a swimmer in high school. All right.
The worst was when the guy would be like, they were like, what's going on? He's like, I think that our skin is aging every like 10 years a minute because of this and that and this and science I couldn't possibly know. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Where are you pulling these facts out of your ass? Like, there's no way you could possibly know what's going on right now.
I'm determined Shyamalan does not know what a real human interaction is.
I've watched a good chunk of his movies now, and even in his good stuff, people talk weird. People don't talk the way human beings react or interact with each other. It's very strange. And this movie has no payoff. There's some pharmaceutical bullshit that just is thrown at the end to try to make some sense out of this. I was so let down and I gave up. I'm giving up on M. Night Shyamalan. I'm going to either not watch his movies or go in with incredibly low expectations. And I'm sure as shit not seeing him at the movies. Yeah,
I'm done. Like, it's, like I said, man, like to sit there and give us like, for me, I know you said you kind of had your issues with The Visit. But like for me, like coming off like 3 films where I went, okay, it seems like he's finally back. We just had like some fluke years. I was like, cool. And then he just turns around and does everything he is so mocked and ridiculed for, but dials it up to 10. In this movie, I was just like, God damn it, Shyamalan. I'm not, you've lost your chance with me. You clearly those 3 films were flukes. Like, which is weird that your good films are flukes, but your bad films are apparently what you're the best at.
It wouldn't bother me so much if it wasn't the fucking arrogance. Like, he is so sure that every film he makes is a masterpiece. Especially old. I remember the pre thing where he's like, thank you so much for coming to see my work. Like, this is what's going to change the future of film. And we're like, no, you're done. Like, you're not changing shit. Like, go away, M. Night. Yeah. We're done. We're done with you. Get out of here.
To retain the moniker of the next Spielberg, you have to make a lot more good movies.
Yeah. What has he got? 4? And that's being generous.
Yeah.
So yeah, fuck him. I'm over him. I hope I hope everyone else is too, so he can stop getting funding because it's time. It's time to retire M. Night.
He has another film getting ready to come out. I think it's like 2023.
What? Who is this mysterious benefactor? There's got to be. I wouldn't want to be the guy publicly giving him money. There's got to be some shell company somewhere that's like just funding his work. I don't know. Ugh. Well, what's your number two?
My number two harkens back to what I said about films with terrible action scenes. And it's probably the most recent one on my list because I really watched this past weekend. So we talked about it very fresh, but we're going to talk about some more now. And that is the sequel no one wanted, The Matrix Resurrections. I know we just recently talked about, my God, fuck. Like, seriously, like, fuck this movie. Like, terribly written because it, like, mostly relies on the first three films and then, like, maybe 10% of a new movie. It oddly takes away the whole aesthetic, like the green tint, like everything about Matrix is gone. And like as someone who kind of had my issues with the philosophizing stuff and like the sequels, I oddly missed it in this one because like nothing, no qualities, no trademarks of the Matrix were present. So it's just like, all right, give me something to make me know I'm watching a Matrix movie, other than like Keanu Reeves acting like he did in the first one, which was he's mildly, reacting to everything. The fact that you did not apparently like, I don't know who said no. I think you said Hugo Weaving said no. Well, his first one apparently they should never talk to, but to not bring those actors back and then to turn around and try to fucking replicate it. Fuck off. I like Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. I like a lot of stuff he does. Did not like him in this. This I thought he was fucking terrible. And I hated like the scene when like Neo walks to the fucking theater and they're playing the goddamn opening from the first movie and he's just sitting there and I'm like, stop fucking doing this. And then same with I think it was Jonathan Groff, I believe he played Agent Smith this time around. Anytime he like was saying the lines, or when he yelled Mr. Anderson, it didn't like have any effect like it did when Hugo Weaving does it. Like there was a certain power, gravitas when Hugo Weaving did it that just was gone here because it didn't feel like a performance. It felt like he was trying to replicate and it just did not work. Also, taking a film that's so goddamn serious, because let's just be honest, the first three films are some of the most serious fucking films you'll watch in your life. And then trying to also on the fourth one add these meta jokes like, ha ha ha, we shouldn't be making this movie, but we did. Just no, fuck off. Like, this is not serious for meta jokes. This is not Deadpool. You can go fuck yourself. This isn't even a Scream film, for Christ's sakes. I can get away with it. Like, just no. And then, like I said, the action, man, like, this franchise is known. It at the first one, especially for changing action in American cinema. And this was some of the most lackluster action known to man. Like, holy fuck. I can see why I think it was Lily that opted to not do this film. I can see why I'm sure it had nothing to do with the quality of the script she saw, but I'm just saying, like, I'm glad she decided to be like, nope, I'm not doing this. Because like I said, I don't mean anything negative. I know a lot of artists will make a film out of grief as a way to express it. And it happens all the time, but they also make it in a way that's inviting for the audience to watch. And I just felt like with this one, Lana didn't really achieve that. She made a film to like work on her grief, but didn't give us a good reason to want to revisit these characters, revisit this ward. So it like for me there was an odd disconnect. Like, I'm not really feeling a reason why I need to come back. Like, I totally get why you made this film. You're not giving me any reason to want to go along the ride with you and maybe work out maybe some grief. I don't know. Like,
I am in 100% agreement. The Matrix Resurrections is also my number two.
Wow, we're really nailing this.
These were the two I was certain were going to be on your top five. I just didn't know they were going to be in the same spot as mine. So, yeah, this movie fucking sucked and was very expensive because movie ticket prices are a lot now. And I had a lot of faith in this. I could have watched this on HBO Max. I decided to see this on the big screen because I thought it deserved that kind of attention. And I was so pissed because this film is such a letdown and an unnecessary piece of garbage. I think, you brought up the green tint that the first three movies had when you're in the Matrix. I missed that more than anything. That really made me feel like I was in the Matrix. This time I didn't. And the whole like reboot joke bullshit, I didn't need that. Make a good movie. Stop. If you just throw in jokes that you made a bad movie and then you make a bad movie, you still made a bad movie. You don't get away with it because you joked about it.
Yeah, where's the punchline?
Yeah, us. We're the goddamn punchline. We saw it.
I mean, I saw it on HBO Max at least, so.
Yeah. All right. Morpheus, I hate what they did to him. I hate what they did to Smith even more. They turned him into a metrosexual jackass. And it really bothered me. Calling him Tom, no. So they completely gutted everything that made Smith so scary. Because he's fucking terrifying in the first movie. He's this invincible force of nature who can move at inhuman speeds and wants them all dead. Like, that is scary.
Yeah, and even I can admit, like, he was one of the better parts of the sequels. Like, Hugo Reeves was consistently one of the better parts of the sequels.
Yeah, it's like this guy who was so almost invincible in the first one has now been freed and can reshape the universe as to his liking. I'm in. Regardless of what the rest of the movie is, I'm invested in that story. This time, I was invested in fuck all. There's nothing to tie the audience to the story. They completely fuck with Jada Pinkett Smith's character, make her pretty irredeemable and heartless. I didn't like it. I didn't care for it. Every second of the movie, I was like, this could have been so much better. I think it's funny that the studio was banking on a fifth movie. They were going to try to convince Lana Wachowski to do it, but the box office returns were so terrible, they said, fuck it.
Yeah, it's almost like they were begging for a fourth film. The Wachowskis were like, no, we're trying to do it. Lana finally decides to do it again to process her grief. The box office receipts come in, and then the studio turns around and goes, never mind, we don't need a fifth one. We should have never even brought it up. Sorry.
I think it's funny that we've seen Keanu Reeves really come back in a big way with the John Wick franchise and really put everything into those movies. And then he does this, and it's like, you can tell the difference between like a good action scene and a bad action scene now just by using him as kind of the control group. And good God, I mean, just the bullet stopping and like the diverting air towards helicopters and the CGI corpses falling out of the building. I think it's crazy. I think I brought this up when we talked about it a few weeks ago, that the CGI in 1999 looks better than the CGI from last fucking month. Like, what happened there? I would love anybody who liked this to give me a good argument why.
Yes, especially if you try to say to my face you thought it was well written. Explain to me how lifting entire scenes of dialogue and scenes in general, really, if you want to talk about the fucking opening, from prior films and using that for your script. Like, that's not good writing. That's lazy and shitty writing.
And then you've got, the Rage Against the Machine, piss cover band doing Wake Up at the end of the movie. Could you have gotten a better metaphor?
Yeah. And boy, look, I listened to the whole song, so I was like, I gotta hear this whole song. When she gets to the wake up part, she does not have the chops like Zach De La Rocha did. Like, you felt it when he yelled "wake up." Like, you were like, yeah, man, like, yeah.
You could feel the rage against said machine.
God damn it.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, I couldn't feel shit when she did it. I was like, no, I'm not feeling it. Like, get Zach back, man. Let him yell that. He'll show you a thing or two.
Oh boy. Yeah. The Matrix Resurrections, a shit way to end the year. I'm glad I watched the Lucille Ball movie just so I could finish 2021 with a good movie. So yeah, fuck that movie. I have a feeling I know what your number one is. Let's see if I'm right.
You're probably right. I hope you're right. You know how much I really despise this movie going in. So this movie I did not want going into it, but I said I'll watch it with an open fucking mind, and it failed to do me anything. That's Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Knew it. All right,
Yeah,
continue.
LeBron James, suck my dick. How's that sound? To sit there and think you can be better than Michael fucking Jordan and do a Space Jam sequel that, based off interviews leading into it and what I was hearing about how like we got rid of this character because we just don't condone Pepe Le Pew and what he was doing because it's a fucking cartoon. And then like the director admitting he had not seen the first film prior to getting the job to direct the new one. And that when he did finally watch it, he was just so obsessed with like Lola Bunny being so sexualized because she was showing midriff, and that he was like, I'm real proud of what we did with her and how we were able to make her everything and not sexualize her. And I'm like, again, it's a cartoon, and the fact that you focused on that scares me. That you focus on that as a grown man, because hormonal teenager is one thing. You're trying to figure out your shit. But a grown man, I have questions for you, buddy. So don't try to fucking pass off hormonal teenage shit onto your fucking creepy ass. But that did not, bode over me. And then what I saw, just wow, it tried so fucking hard. And then sorry, I so much I want to talk about this fucking movie. It tried so hard to do the shared universe thing in a fucking Space Jam movie. That's not what I want. And I know the first Space Jam made references to our movies, as those whole Pulp Fiction reference, for God's sakes, in it. But if you watch Looney Tunes, they did it all the fucking time in Looney Tunes since it first came out anyway. So that made sense. Not if WB trying to be fucking meta. It's weird that now I'm thinking about Matrix Resurrection, it's also WB. Trying to get meta and have all these different universes they can go to, unless it's something real big like Harry Potter. Don't go there. But like all these universes, and they kept destroying all these characters and all this shit to the point that the Looney Tunes that are supposed to be the main fucking draw are sidelined. Like they're just kind of there. And it was like, why would you do that? And then you have the shitty use of like the animation choice they wanted to go with. And then this is what I was going to say, but I'll say it now. You make a big deal about getting rid of Pepe Le Pew because the skunk tries to rape the female skunk, but you're okay putting in a very clearly fucking visible shot the Troogs from A Clockwork Orange, who did rape. They didn't try. They did. It's the fucking middle point of the movie. It's literally the catalyst for everything that happens in the back half of the film. I don't fucking sit there and try to virtue signal on a goddamn cartoon skunk and then put that shit in a kid's movie.
Yeah, pick a lane. That, and also, throwing in all the Game of Thrones shit, another property loaded with rape.
Yeah, and look, I'm not gonna say Michael Jordan's like this great actor by any fucking like stretch of the imagination, but I'll watch him over LeBron because wow, talk about even like less charisma when a camera's pointing at him. I fucking hated. And then like he just came off like a dick. Like his son wanted to be a game maker and not do sports, and he was disappointed. I'm like, that's a very like good paying job. Like, why wouldn't you, with all the money you have and what you've accomplished in your fucking lifetime, encourage him to do what he loves? Because that's what you did. That's why you're a big hotshot basketball player. So to me, that didn't come off like, he just came off like a dick. And I don't really like LeBron James. I think he's an asshole, if I'm being completely honest. And his portrayal of him as a father did not help. I would not have blamed that kid for going over to the side of I think it was Don Cheadle. Yeah, Don Cheadle. Sorry, I have to. Yeah, I would have been fine with the kid going over to the side of Don Cheadle because he's the only one that seemed to understand the assignment anyway.
Yeah, Don Cheadle, has been in some shit movies, but he himself has never been shit. He's good. I knew Space Jam 2 was going to be your number one. Yeah, you for years when they were announcing this, you were very much in the fuck that movie camp. And yeah, turns out it's a camp a lot of people are staying in these days. This was such an odd film because the whole basketball thing was almost an afterthought. The whole movie is a constant stream of references to better shit to try to distract you from the fact that you're watching a shit movie, which is funny. It's like, hey, you like Rick and Morty, right? There's Rick and Morty. Hey, you like Game of Thrones? Look, a dragon. You like Superman? There he is. It's like,
but hey,
yeah, I'm still fully aware I'm watching Space Jam 2. Thanks.
Yeah. And mind you, all the things you said, does any of that scream fucking kid friendly to you?
That's the weirdest thing. Like they really went for everything, regardless of content. But a skunk that is very French and constantly trying to seduce a cat, that's too much.
Yeah. Or the fact that, Lola Bunny showed midriff was too much. I'm like, you guys have the weirdest priorities.
I think it's just weird that anyone even thought to sexualize a cartoon rabbit in the first place. Even in the first movie, like it got a little too far. But then, like, dude, the fucking backlash when they like changed her character a little bit to be more, of a cartoon for kids. People were like, "How dare you!" Like, I jerk off to that rabbit 2 times a day. What are you doing?
Yeah, look, I'm not saying like there isn't like a weird set of fans. It's just like the way he kind of like said in the comment. I was like,
yeah,
I'm kind of like concerned that that's the only thing you're drawing from the original film.
Remind me of that line from Jingle All the Way. Like, we're not doing this for us. We're doing it for the kids.
Well, yeah. What really made me happy was like I remember this film actually did pretty good its opening weekend. I was like, fuck no, stop it. But apparently it was really just people taking their kids to be like, oh, let's see this new Space Jam, which I get. I get. The situation was weird at that time. But then it's like, and so, LeBron James was like, oh, like, it's almost like you could tell he finally was like, in his head, like, oh yeah, fuck you guys, all that hate you gave me. We're the most successful film this weekend. Like, ha ha ha. Like he wasn't that rude, but he kind of like, I know you did like a Twitter comment or something that was like along those lines. Or it was just like, yeah, see, no one believed in us, and we had a successful weekend. The thing is, everyone who saw that film and took their kids apparently told everyone not to go see that fucking film and just watch it on HBO Max or don't watch it at all because it dropped significantly that weekend and never made its money back ever. And LeBron James immediately shut the fuck up. He was like, never mind. But I mean, look, this is a guy that for some weird reason thought that he would be the one to make a Friday the 13th film with his production company, as like he was completely clueless to who actually owns the fucking rights and the legal issue that just recently, as in like 2-3 days ago, officially got out of court. I'm like, are you really that delusional and that up your fucking ass that you can't understand basic like legalities? Like you should know being a fucking basketball player anyway.
Yeah, no love lost there.
I fuck LeBron James. Suck my dick, LeBron.
Damn. Okay.
Fuck Space Jam. Don't watch this goddamn movie.
Space Jam 2.
Getting angry again. God damn
it. Yeah. I almost made my list, but there was one movie that I hated so much this year because it was boring, it was long, and the buildup was intense, I thought. And that is Reminiscence. Hugh Jackman, why did you do this? If you've ever seen Westworld, take the most complicated, philosophical, dream world bullshit of Westworld, combine it with fucking Chinatown, and you've got this heaping pile of movie. The plot is identical to Chinatown and Blade Runner and every noir movie. And it's 2 hours and 15 minutes of watching Hugh Jackman like walk through this neo-noir city, look into different dreams and try to figure something out. I was so fucking checked out. I remember barely anything about this movie. It was just dull as dishwater. And I don't really have much else to say. It was so bad. It checked me out. I got nothing left. Don't see it. don't watch it. Reminiscence. Just watch Westworld. It's the same people. And it really made me appreciate Inception because say what you want about that movie. At least somebody believed in it. At least the actors are trying. At least there's a story there.
That's a Nolan film I do like. I do like Inception.
Yeah. So there it is. Our 5 worst of the year. Let's go ahead and recap real quick before we get into the good stuff. Why don't you start?
5, Connor's favorite director of all time, Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. 4, Snake Eyes. 3, Old. 2, The Matrix Resurrections. 1, the biggest fuck this movie I've ever had in my life, Space Jam: A New Legacy. I fucking hate that subtitle. Saying it out loud pissed me off. Fuck your legacy. We only need the original legacy.
Number 5, Cherry. Number 4, Infinite. Number 3, Old. Number 2, The Matrix Resurrections. And number 1, Reminiscence. There it is. I wonder what our 5 worst of this year is going to look like. Find out next January. Now, top 10 best films of 2021. There was a lot of good shit that came out this year. Let's talk about some of it. Why don't you start us off?
Number 10, the event cage match of the year. The 2 biggest titans of cinema going at it. Godzilla versus Kong. Look, I'll say it again right off the top. For those of you who are bitching about the human characters movie, fuck right off. Like, I don't know what you're paying for, or at this point, planning to see. So I think I don't know if it's still streaming on HBO Max anymore.
It is. It went back on.
Okay, yeah, I know it goes back on. I don't know if it was still on though. But yeah, if you're going into this with this title and you're like, I can't wait to get great human characters and just development, walk away now. This is not the movie for you. For those of us who are smart, like us on Filmgazm Productions, who all went in this knowing exactly what the fuck we wanted, this film fucking delivers. God damn, does it deliver? I think it was Adam Wingard. Yes, he went to my college. Directed The Living Hell. This movie gave us, to me, like the most satisfying fucking fight. Like, it's amazing how in a year where like you had Matrix Resurrections and Snake Eyes deliver shitty fight scenes, Godzilla versus Kong with CGI'd fucking monsters gave me some of the best fight scenes of the year. Interesting how that happened, but yeah, like from the first one on the aircraft carriers and Kong jumping on the different carriers, which as someone who just came off a carrier, like God bless those who were eating meals or trying to sleep that day, mostly because they're dead, but also because you probably got quite the seasickness before you died. But from that one to the end climactic one to when they have to team up, like this film just goes like it sets up just enough, and then the moment it happens, it doesn't let up, and it's fucking awesome. I loved every second of this movie.
Yeah, I remember that was one of the first sneak previews where we really went at that movie and we're just like gushing. I will have more to say on Godzilla versus Kong a little later.
I figured it was going to be on your top 10 too. So,
my number 10 was a bit of a surprise. It was a Netflix movie in the middle of the year that was good. I know, like you have better chances of catching a fucking Bigfoot these days.
Well, not right now. He's hiding because there's too much snow in the Pacific Northwest.
You'd think he'd be easier to see in the snow. He's brown, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
people have to be able to actually function in those states, and they don't know how to.
It's almost like the 12-foot ape that they've been trying to find for like 60 years doesn't exist. Who knew? Anyway, the Mitchells versus the Machines. This movie was hilarious and a welcome surprise. It's about this family of this cute family. The main character is about to go to college. She's got a weird family and she's trying to kind of distance herself from them. And dad can sense this and decides to drive her to college with the whole family. And she's like, no. And along the way, robots take over the world. And they're the only ones who don't know about it. And they end up becoming the one family who can stop this. And it is really funny and really endearing and beautifully animated. And one of the funniest movies of the year. I recommend it. That's my number 10.
I've been meaning to watch this one. I think it's the Millers, or Phil Lord and Christopher Miller,
Yeah, it's those
I
guys.
believe. Yeah, that directed this, and I just really love what they do. I think if I'm correct, their big break was Jump Street, the movie.
Yeah, Jump Street, and then they did the Lego movie, and
Okay, yeah,
they're great.
I'll say I've consistently liked their style. They just know how to deliver like really high energy, like jokes flying at you a mile a minute, and most of them actually stick. And I like what they do with animation a lot, where it'd be like the animation used for Lego Movie, or I know they didn't direct it, but they produced it with Into the Spider-Verse. Like the animation for that was stunning.
Yeah.
And it carried, from what I've heard, it carries over into this film. Like it's like that same manic, high energy jokes flying around in it, like but like so much heart, because they are very good with that. And just beautiful different types of animation. This has been one on my list to see. I really like those two guys a lot.
Well, I really hope this has a chance at a best animated feature nom at the Oscars. Usually it's, Disney, Pixar, and then a shit ton of like foreign movies. This time I'm hoping this one lands a nomination because this was really good. It could even win.
I'm going to call it. It's going to get nominated, but Encanto's going to win because it's fucking Disney, and they probably already bought their win in advance.
Ouch. Just disrespect an entire show of ours. That's nice.
No, not your show, just the Oscars itself. I've done that before. You shut your mouth.
All right. What is your 9?
My 9 is a video game adaptation, but not a big one like most people thought. One that no one really saw fucking coming and being as good as it was. We watched the director's feature debut actually for this because we're interested. Number 8 is Werewolves. Sorry, 9. I fucked up my numbers. 9 is Werewolves Within. This movie, I personally really liked. I think it was Scare Me, I believe was the title.
Yeah.
It was one, I really liked it. I really liked it, and I saw the potential of like a guy who is really good at delivering campfire story feeling with his movies. And that's exactly what he did here. It felt like a campfire story, which I think is actually what the game is. But like adding a really intriguing whodunit plot line to it. And like I remember throughout several points, I was literally sitting going like, who the fuck is this werewolf? Like I couldn't figure it out. Like they did such a good job with it. And he adds such great characters. As someone like we both grew up in, Blanco, a small town. There was characters he was portraying. I was like, God, I remember people like this in my town. Like, fuck. Like, he nailed it with the small town aesthetic and the people. And there's just so many fucking funny moments. This film just delivers. It makes me sad that, like, it kind of got, like, a weird release mainly because of the pandemic. But if you haven't seen it, like, seriously, check it out. Like, help this guy out. I really do hope to continue to see more things from Josh Rubin, I believe is his name. I hope to keep seeing more stuff from him because I have really enjoyed these 2 films he's done, and especially Werewolves Within.
Yeah, that movie was funny. That was cute. I like good horror comedy. When you can do a good balance of both, it's a special moment. The cast was really funny. The twist honestly was a shock. I didn't expect that. Because it comes out of nowhere, but also makes total sense if you're paying attention, which is the perfect kind of twist. Definitely a good watch. Yeah, surprising that it came out of a video game that nobody really cared about, which is like a basic, find the werewolf game.
That's why I said like it's a video game adaptation, but not like like next year we get Uncharted coming out, right? HBO's doing The Last of Us TV show. Like you have like big hits coming out next year, and I think it was 2019 we had Sonic. We probably had some this year that I'm forgetting, but like there's like the big hitters are coming out, and then like this, and to me this was probably like one of the best adaptations.
Yeah, it's a solid movie. I think it was like the first or one of the first critically acclaimed video game movies, which does not happen.
It was one of the first. I think Sonic beat it because Sonic got a pretty good reception.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah, that was cute. My number 9 is going back to Apple, who really surprised me with this. Coda, a drama about a family that is all deaf except for their daughter, who has a love of music. And she really wants to go to music school, but that would mean leaving her family. And since she's the only one who can hear, that means they lose their job on a fishing boat. So she has to make a decision whether to stay with her family or go to music school and achieve her dream. And her family can't understand her love of music because they were born deaf. They don't understand music. And it's a very touching movie. For those of you who are curious, CODA stands for Child of Deaf Adult. And it was a beautiful, touching movie. And I wish Apple would churn out more stuff like that because it was great.
Yeah, I remember you praising this one highly, and I have seen a lot of good stuff talked about this one. Unlike most Apple Plus, Max, whatever they call themselves, products. Sorry, I'm thinking about the South Park special with the Applebee's. Applebee's, they need Super Max Plus. I've heard a lot of good things about this. I don't have an Apple Plus account because, like I already said, I am just so done subscribing to things at this point that I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna miss whatever they put out. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I figured, but I wanted this film to be represented here because it was really good, and I feel like it got kind of overshadowed by everything else, which is a shame. So maybe come award season, it'll get some love. It did get some at the Globe nominations. Hopefully, it gets some at the Oscars.
That's good. All right, my number 8 is one of many films that seem to get delayed multiple fucking times, and we were dying to see it. And has a very strong theme of family, but not type of family we're kind of sick and tired of at this point. The other type of family we all enjoyed seeing, that would be Ghostbusters Afterlife at my number 8. I know you thought F9 for a second, didn't you?
You had me for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, he didn't like that.
Scared you there for a second.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I forgot to mention we should really talk about The Rock's stance because I read what he said in response to that Instagram post.
Yeah, we'll say a bit about that after you're done here.
Yeah, which I just have to say that post was beautiful. Fuck yeah, Rock. But no, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Like you said, this was I would say like No Time to Die, right? Like it just kept getting delayed. Even I think before the pandemic, they were just delaying this film. And so when it finally was sitting and staying, I was like, okay, fuck yeah, let's do this. There was a lot of I think I can speak on pretty much all of the Filmgazm predictions because I know Josh was super excited, you were super excited. I'm assuming Austin was super excited for this film, but I don't know how much he's into Ghostbusters.
Sure. Assume he is. I assume everybody's into Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I'm going to assume he is. So, Austin, tell me if you're not later when you listen to this episode, but I'm assuming you are. But this was pretty anticipated. You had Ivan. No. Yes, I keep fucking up with my brain rightments. It was Ivan that directed this movie, right?
Ivan's the dad. Jason is the kid.
Damn it. I keep doing that. I keep mixing it up. Jason Reitman, taking the mantle from his dad, wanting to make a film that was a true Ghostbusters story, essentially, the true Ghostbusters we've been waiting for, that honored the legacy characters, but still brought the story forward. And to me, he nailed it completely. This was a film that really found a cool way to bring in this new cast and make them likable. I really did like the children on this movie. They were very likable to me, especially the one playing the main character, essentially the Spangler's granddaughter. She was astounding and perfect. Loved her so much. And her buddy podcast was fucking hilarious in my opinion. So they were just so entertaining to watch and a lot of fun. I would gladly follow them into a future film if that happens. But at the same time, what he did with the legacy characters was just beautiful to me. I think it's safe to say, I know I can speak on me and my Josh Pfaff, I'm sure you did the same thing. There were tears at the end. What he opted to do with Spangler, with Harold Ramis, in light of the passing and the bad blood that happened between him and Bill Murray, and luckily I know they had made up right before he passed away. But how he utilized all that for that finale and honoring Harold Ramis was just nothing short of beautiful. And for a longtime fan that, I want to say like, someone that was a kid that saw that first film and now adults saying this, I'm sure it was just a beautiful moment for them and just so satisfying what they did. So yeah, I really enjoyed the hell of this film. I know some people were like, "This was funny. Paul Rudd wasn't as funny." Like, stop being so fucking nitpicky. Like, this was a good movie. This was a really good movie. If you're a Ghostbusters fan that was like really defeated by the 2016 reboot, this just is miles above it. I was so glad to see that like it had legs and was making money like 3, 4, 5 fucking weeks after it released. Like, fuck yeah. Like, give this movie all the money you want so we can get this fucking set of characters, this universe of it continued, if they so choose to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Really pissed me off when they announced the Ghostbusters box set, and some people were like, "Well, where's the 2016 movie? Like, where's that? Why is that represented?" Well, a couple of reasons. One, it's not canon in that story, and two, it's a piece of shit. So move on. Let it die. Stop bringing it up. I just wanted to say that. I will have more to say on Ghostbusters Afterlife a bit later.
No, I don't blame you, and I'm honestly really eyeing that set. Like, I already own the first two, but goddamn, with that set offers, I'm like, oh, I want it.
I don't have great versions of the first two, so I have no problem picking up that set.
It's a beautiful set.
Yeah. My Ghostbusters Blu-ray case is a little broken. It doesn't close all the way. That's all the reason I need to get this box set.
Fair enough. It is beautiful. If I don't get it, I'm gonna pick up. If I don't get set, I'll pick up the 4K of Afterlife. But I really want that set.
Me too. So yeah, before we continue, Dwayne Johnson definitively said "fuck off" to Vin Diesel for F10. He told him to stop manipulating people's thoughts using Paul Walker's death and his kids, and said that this is fucked up and he's not coming back. So yeah, good for Dwayne.
Oh yeah, went for Dwayne. I just love how he worded it, where he was just like, and he even said, he's like, we talked privately about this. He's like, I called him, we talked privately about how I'm not coming back. I'm done. It's like, I've talked to the studio privately. They understand the situation. He's like, I did not appreciate what he did on that Instagram post. He's like, he even said, he's like, that's a form of him being manipulative. That's part of his manipulation. He's like, and how essentially it was like, he almost said like, how dare you bring up your kids in Paul Walker's death? Leave them out of it.
Yeah.
You could tell he was pissed.
I do love though that he is still planning a Hobbs and Shaw too.
Yeah.
That's still happening.
Yeah, he's like, fuck that franchise. I'll just keep working with Statham.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I'm glad that Vin didn't win this one.
Yeah. And like I said, like it's funny because like I give him credit for being so professional, but you could, like I said, you could tell he was fucking furious, it seemed. But the way he was around, was like that pissed him off.
The Rock is like, what, 6'3", 6'4", maybe taller, like 400 pounds of pure fucking Samoan muscle. I wouldn't want to piss that guy off in any capacity.
No. And like I said, back in his whole, like, when he made that comment, he pushed The Rock to get performance. I'm like, dude, Vin Diesel, like, The Rock does not need you for his success. Like, that man just getting attached to a movie draws audiences in.
Vin Diesel has never influenced anyone's acting ability ever. Like, what cloud is he sitting on? I mean, Jesus Christ, the ego on that man, like, could capsize a fucking yacht.
Yeah, I mean, think about it like this: how many times has Disney tried to recapture Pirates of the Caribbean, and the movie has failed? But then they finally do the one with The Rock and Emily Blunt, and it was a success. And it's getting a sequel.
There is no shelf life on this franchise, Viagra. All right, good. Glad we got that out of the way. It needed to be said. Number 8, I think it's my 8.
Yes, you're 8. Mine was Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Cool. My number 8, a film that defied all expectations, and I was very happy it did. The trailer, very misleading, but in a good way. This is not a John Wick style action flick by way of Nicolas Cage. This is a poignant drama about grief. It is Pig.
It's almost made my list, but I opted for stuff. But go on.
This is the only time in the short history of this podcast that I convinced you mid-episode that what you thought wasn't a great movie actually was. And I'm very proud of that.
It was after I had a really deep take too, for like one of the few times I got like really deep and philosophical for once. And so just being like, yeah, fuck this movie. Like,
this movie shows that Nicolas Cage has never left us. He's just been, stuck on a different level of shitty scripts for a while. But now that he's getting to be choosy again, he's picking very interesting stuff. And Pig is such a unique film. I've never seen a revenge movie like this. Cage is a disgraced chef who lives in the woods with his prized truffle pig. And one day this pig is captured and he demands answers. And he finds his way through the seedy underground of Seattle's fine dining scene, which ignore that. But he ends up finding out what happened to his pig. And he takes a very interesting kill them with kindness approach and teaches people about how little time we have on this earth and how we get so little time to care about something. And it's a very interesting approach to life. And the ending with Adam Arkin and the first date meal or the anniversary meal, God, that really got to me. That was so beautiful. This was not at all what I expected, and I was very pleased with what it ended up being. And I hope more people see this so they understand exactly what kind of actor Nicolas Cage is and always has been.
I must say, it's always been there. People choose to say he's a shitty actor because of the film quality. Pay attention. Like, there was one, I won't say his name, but I remember he was like, "Oh, I want to be an actor," and stuff. He was back on my boat, and but then he's like, I remember he wanted to be an actor so bad, but then he would make some dumb comment like, "Oh, Nicolas Cage is one of the worst actors." I'm like, you want to be an actor, but you fail to truly study it. And I say that because, like, if you pay attention to him in shitty films, he gives good performances. He is giving his 110% in every fucking film he does, regardless of the quality.
Yeah.
So he is a good actor. And to lump it with like, well, he was in bad movies, so he was a shitty. No, he picked bad movies. He had to pay off like debt he was in.
Yeah.
He was always. And yeah, like you said, like he's been on a real streak. I think since like Mom and Dad. There may have been a movie or two before that I'm not remembering. Oh, Joe. Okay, I would say since Joe. Well, he's been selective again, and he's been, especially with genre stuff, and he's been picking some really wild out there stuff that just works. And it's really my personal favorite out of this bunch that he's been with his Renaissance, in my opinion, is still Mandy. I fucking adore that movie. But this was at first I remember just saying like, oh, okay, but then like as I really ruminated on this film, it really hit me how much I liked it.
Yeah.
And I think to me, my favorite scene, like, it is that scene you're talking about. Like, that was a beautiful scene. But to me, it's when he goes to his restaurant and he makes the chef come out and he has that talk, because it feels like it's almost like to me, it felt like a metaphor for his acting, for his career, and how people have viewed him. When he says like, these people, they don't care about you, so you have to do what makes you happy. And it's like, you kind of hit like, it's like a metaphor for his own career, and him where he's at now, where he's like, I'm picking stuff that makes me happy. He even had made the comment prior to this film that he doesn't want to do mainstream Hollywood again. He wants to keep doing indie stuff because he has that freedom. So it felt like him giving it his all in a film that was a metaphor for his career.
Yeah. And none of us expected that, which is great. Like, we went in there thinking, oh, it's, Nick Cage is going to go ape shit on these guys for stealing his pig. Great. This will kill time for an hour. But no, it was a very deep movie that I really haven't stopped thinking about. It's beautiful. And I hope, going forward, Cage gets back the respect he once had in Hollywood. Academy Award winner Nicolas Cage was once the toast of Hollywood. He was at the top of the A-list. As far as I'm concerned, he never fucking left. This man deserves our respect. He has been to the bottom. He's fucking crawled his way back up. And I love the guy as a performer and as just he seems like a cool guy.
Yeah, he might be a little strange, man. I don't know, but he seems like
I wouldn't want to. I couldn't hang with Nick Cage. I'll say that right now. But if I ever meet him, I would love to just shake his hand and say thanks.
Yeah, I would love to meet him in real life. And I have heard from a lot of people who have like worked with him, that he's very committed. That he, and I was actually talking about Josh about the other day, talking about like how cool Josh brought it up, like how cool it would be if like Nick Cage started producing movies, and then that's when and that's when I kind of brought up like that would be cool because think about what he's doing when he does these indie films for these directors that usually they don't have a lot of like mainstream recognition. It might be their first film. I think in the case of Pig, it was probably, I don't know. I can't speak on the director's behalf on Pig. I don't know if it was his first film or like he's just a big time indie guy. But he picks like these guys that don't have a huge, like they're not Scorsese, they're not Spielberg, right? But he goes to their movies with his clout that he has with his name attached and helps them out and gives them the same quality performance he would give to Scorsese or against Spielberg, like someone like that. Like he's not hamming it up to these. He's not being a dick to these guys. He's helping them out by giving them a good performance and having his name attached to that. Like, and that gives them that boost that they need.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I think a lot of that comes from, The Fall. I think that, losing his mainstream success and having to slum it for so long showed him maybe the value of, his career and how quickly it can all go away. So I think maybe he's kind of using his powers for good these days, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wonderful. Pig, number 8. What's your 7?
My 7 is the MCU film that really got the year going. I'm not going to say of the year. Let's hold off on that statement. I think I know what we both have for our number 1 anyway. But the one that made me go, okay, sweet. Phase 4 is here. Let's go. Number 7, Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings. I really enjoyed the shit out of this film. Marvel, hey, here again, talking about action, right? They brought it on the martial arts scenes. I know a lot of people bitch about like there's not really martial arts in that last third act. It becomes like kind of like a Marvel third act, an MCU third act, but hey, fuck off. It's a great third act. The action that part is so great, from like the dragons fighting to like when he's doing the moves to defeat the evil dragon, like as he's in the air falling, like it's still great action. I'm sorry, you're right. It's not martial arts stuff, but guess what? This is a success enough. We're getting a sequel and a spin-off TV show. We got plenty more of it on the way. This film just, oh my god, like the action scenes. I'm personally a big fan of Awkwafina. I think she's hilarious. She was cracking me up throughout this movie. I love that for once I didn't realize how much breath of fresh air it felt. And so like I really thought about it, but like the fact that they weren't forced to be a fucking couple. They were just platonic goddamn friends. Was oddly enough a breath of fresh air. I love how they were able to make this still very much an MCU film, but by being smart and cast and obviously doing their due diligence in getting a very Asian culture behind the camera and the director and the writer and stuff, it led to a very Asian influence that I thought worked really well with the MCU. And then for me, another big thing was Ben Kingsley, Trevor Slattery. Like, you took a plot point that I fucking despised from Iron Man 3. Like, a movie that I was actually pretty on board when I watched it, like, again a couple years ago when I got, like, my Phase 2 set. And I was like, I'm actually kind of on board with this movie. And then I got to that twist. I was like, nope, this is why I went off board. I was like, everything before was great. And then that fucking twist. But this film totally, to me, redeemed his character, redeemed the fucking Mandarin, and made him scary, made him terrifying, and gave us like I think it was Tony Leung, I believe, that played him, and he to me is one of the best fucking MCU villains ever because you're so sympathetic with his cause. You really are. You understand where he comes from completely. And one of my favorite scenes is actually when he is talking about taking back the Mandarin title at the dinner scene when he gets them all back, and it's just like you can see that while this guy does love his family and wants this, he's a monster beneath all that. He's a terrifying monster that you do not want to cross. And yeah, great fucking film. I've seen it numerous times now, thanks to Disney Plus. So yeah, fucking 7, Shang-Chi.
Yeah, Shang-Chi didn't quite make my top 10, but there were a lot of movies I liked that didn't make it. Yeah, this was badass. my favorite thing about the Mandarin, the new one, is the implication that he was Genghis fucking Khan. Like maybe history's greatest monster, and it was him. Like that's just, oh my god. I love all the shit with Wong. The comedy was on point. The whole like I loved Aquafina's like fear reaction is to start singing Hotel California. Like she's hilarious. And this new guy, Simu Liu, who kind of came out of nowhere to be a superstar with this, is awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got next. And yeah, I loved how like original this one felt. All the characters were done really well. The backstory on the villain is perfect. It's the perfect blend of evil and tragic that you need to have. Like I love a good tragic villain. And this guy, I mean, fuck, his whole motivation is I want my wife back. Like that's it.
Yeah, it's a very like it works because it's such a human reaction. Like who hasn't felt that in the loss of a loved one, that kind of grief and that kind of pain. That you, if you're sitting there watching, you can relate to the fucking villain. You know, like you kind of like, well, I get it. Like if that was my wife or that was my kids, I would have the same feeling. I would want them back. You know, so you totally get it. And then obviously casting someone like Tony Leung, who was like a Hong Kong martial arts superstar, like fuck yeah. And then the fact that the director recently said like he's going to try to get Jackie Chan in the sequel.
God.
Like, oh yeah, give me Jackie Chan in the MCU, man. Like, do what you can. Like,
fuck. Oh boy, yeah. Well, I love even in the end, like when he realizes we're spoiling it, but you know. It's on you at this point. When he at the end, when they break open the door and he realizes that he's been tricked by this monster that is not his wife, there's this moment where he looks at Shang-Chi with this like, I'm so sorry look in his eyes and like pushes him out of the way, gives him the rings and, you know, takes his medicine. He gets killed by this monster. But in the end, he's like, you can stop this. You can save this world. Like it's a great moment. And yeah, I really like Shang-Chi. I think it's I'm looking forward to seeing him fight with the Avengers. Yeah, I'm glad you have this.
Yeah, especially to me, coming off of seeing Black Widow, which to me, like I said, it's not a bad film by any means, but it's a fairly standard MCU film. And I know I've said it before, it's 10 years too late. So kind of coming off that and then seeing that, I'm like, this is what I'm talking about MCU. Granted, I had that same feeling multiplied times 10 later on in the year, but like that's when I went like, okay, here we go. This is what's going to get me excited for Phase 4. This is what I'm talking about. Like, and this is no shade thrown to the TV shows. I enjoyed TV shows before they came out, but like, as far as like the wait for that Marvel movie, like to me, that was like, yes, this is the Phase 4 film I wanted. Like, fuck yeah, Marvel. This is what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. My number 7 is another film this year that had a great deal of Asian influence and representation, and also co-starred Awkwafina, and that is Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon. This was awesome. This was Disney's epic action movie, and I know a lot of people had problems with it. Frankly, I don't remember what they are because I ignored them.
I'm sure just as dumb as those who wanted the human development better in Godzilla vs. Kong. So,
yeah, I mean, it's a Disney movie about it's an original story, which is great. You don't get a lot of those these days. And it's about this world that was once ruled by dragons who kept the peace. And then when this darkness showed up, the dragons were destroyed and locked away. And this darkness was sealed away by the last dragon. And all these different clans want a piece of this power, and one of them fucks up and destroys it, and the darkness comes back, and this character Raya leads a bunch of unlikely heroes from these various lands to find a way to stop the darkness and free the dragons. And it's very funny and very exciting and very heartfelt, and the ending made me cry, and I thought it was fantastic. So I really hope more people check this out. It's on Disney Plus. It was one of those $30 rentals that I refused to participate in. I saw it at the movies. Disney kind of stopped doing that in the second half of the year.
Yeah, I think I thought it was dumb. That was a jackass move on their part. So I've seen parts of this film finally. I've gone from not seeing any parts because one day when Josh kids were here, apparently they really liked the movie. And they were like, "Oh, like you haven't seen it? You should watch it." And I was like, "Okay." So we put it on as like a thing to watch, right? All of us, little family thing, if you will. I don't know how to best describe the situation, but put it on, and I remember it wasn't because I was hating the film. I was actually really into it. I was like, "Oh god, this is really good." I didn't realize how tired it was. So like halfway through, I just remember thinking like, "Oh, this is good." And next thing I'm out, I'm waking up. The film's coming to like the end, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I fell asleep. Fuck." So I've been meaning to go back and watch it the whole way through because what I saw was really, really, really good, and I was into it. It was just a case of I was more tired than I thought.
Yeah, I definitely go back and check it out. It's an awesome movie. I think that best animated movie at the Oscars this year is going to be a fight between Raya and Encanto. So basically Disney versus Disney. Good luck. But
Yeah, as is tradition.
As is tradition, pretty much. But this was cool and a neat movie, and also just really cool to have some, some Asian representation in the Disney category that isn't just full of racist shit like Mulan. Which I do love, but looking back, there's some stuff in there that's questionable.
Yes, but look, I stand by that cartoon. It's one of my more favorite Disney cartoons.
I love it too. I think Raya was a little bit more honest about things.
Well,
anyway.
Obviously it was compared to Milan. I see where you're coming from. I get it, but I will just because of I don't want to be a hypocrite. I can watch Milan separate and just go, well, that we were a little bit worse of people back then. Supposedly, I should air quote that with what I see in the fucking news with people, but whatever. Moving on to number 6. So at this point, you're calling about like mostly horror, kind of rings true at this point. No, so number 6 would be one that I know is definitely not on your list in any way, shape, or form. I saw it on Shudder when I was playing catch up on a bunch of shit they released, but this is probably one of the most fun fucking horror films I've ever seen with a concept that I actually was like really into, and that would be Vicious Fun. So basically the plot of this one kind of gets you into like the headspace here is like it's this kid that loves horror and is trying to get his like little horror magazine off the ground. Well, he's also like super big into his roommate, but he notices that she's with this other dude that he's never seen. So he follows this dude to a bar to try to like interrogate him. Ends up having way too much to drink and passes out near the phone booth area. Wakes up to find out that he is now stuck inside a bar where serial killers are having their meeting and talking out their problems.
Okay.
Yes, and the serial killers are very much based off various horror movie stereotypes that we've seen before. And the person in charge of all this is David Koechner.
Oh God.
And what ends up happening is a fight for his life as a big time horror fan has to survive trapped in a building with all these different killers. This movie has the most insane, like it's just an insane concept that works. It is funny. There's a whole scene with they end up at a police station with the cops, and the cops are very much caricatures of like movie cops, and like they're getting mad at because he insults their mustache, like this is a mustache, we're cops. Like it's just like it's really funny what they do with it, and it's gory. It's just like this is probably one of the most fun horror films I've seen this entire year. Just all the way through. There's no one that has it's fun in the bonkers way that I'll talk about later. But this is just like a really fun horror film, and I the way it ends, I really do hope we get a sequel. If not, I'm okay with this one little film. But if you have Shudder and you're looking for something a little different, check out Vicious Fun. It was such a good fucking movie.
That sounds awesome. I want to check this out. Maybe we'll do this on Filmgazm this year sometime.
It really is like that. That's why I was like, let me tell the concept this fucking plot, because it's and what I love that it does not hold back. It goes full steam ahead with the plot, and it just goes through it. And it's so fucking funny because when he first does it, he actually tries to act like he's one of the killers. So when he realizes what's going on, so he has like this great awkward moment where they're like, he's having to try to fake his kills and stuff, like his story. And yeah, it's fucking, the movie's gonna, like I said, like if you pay attention, you know anything or two about horror, like you'll start catching like who the various guys in the room are being modeled after, like of actually, like big name horror films. Like you start to like pick up on it. It's fucking good.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. I like that. Awesome. Glad you have some Shudder representation on your top 10 there. My number 6. Here's a question. How do you redeem one of the most reviled superhero movies of the 2010s while also feeling fresh and original and being dope as fuck? You hire James Gunn and you make the Suicide Squad.
Nice.
What, like, if anybody should have the keys to the DC kingdom, it's him. I mean, the Suicide Squad is the best movie in the DCEU by a lot. This movie is so damn funny, so cool. Redeems characters like Rick Flag, who gets more of an arc in this movie than he did in the entirety of the first film. Ignores all the bad shit, builds on the good shit, and gives us he makes Polka Dot Man interesting and fun. I mean, fucking Peacemaker's getting his own show. James Gunn is a magical screenwriter and director. Like the things he can do with the most, like the stupidest and most obscure characters, what he can do with those guys and make them heroes and make them like notable figures in pop culture for the first time ever. It's magic. It's a superpower. And this movie is full of that. This was one of the funniest movies of the year. The Suicide Squad was badass, so good. I really hope he gets to do more with DC. I really hope Peacemaker works out. I know it's going to be great. I just hope people watch it because that's all that they need for this to work. Is people got to check it out. Enough said. The Suicide Squad was fantastic.
Yeah. I want to hold off my thoughts because we have overlap. So
right on.
I'll wait till I get to mine. But do know I agree with everything you said. So with that, my number 5 is another little indie horror film that could. And it's one that says, is it possible, that asks the question, is it possible to make an entertaining movie where Nicolas Cage doesn't say a word? The answer, yes, it fucking is. That is Willy's Wonderland. The Five Nights at Freddy's movie that we finally got because the actual one is just taking apparently way too long. This movie, so I watched this on like a whim one day because I was like, I don't want to watch this. It's on Hulu. Like, I'm gonna fucking watch it. I had such a great time with this movie. I was trepidatious with the fact that Nick Cage was talking. I was like, oh boy, you don't want him to talk. But again, talked about in a pig. I'd apply it here. Like he shows again his fucking abilities as an actor, and that he still delivered an entertaining, just mesmerizing performance by not saying a single fucking word, just using his body movements, and it was great. I know it's essentially Five Nights at Freddy's, but I do really like the concept. That's why I've been kind of waiting on the movie because I do generally like that concept. Again, gory. I love the gore. Dear God, when these things kill, they fucking kill. I love the fight scenes when he was having to destroy these monsters. And I loved how his ultimate goal throughout the night was he really wanted to play pinball. And he would get so annoyed when he had to stop playing pinball to fight these monsters. Look, I know some people are probably gonna get real turned off by this film, but I implore you to just fucking have a beer, have some snacks, get some friends, turn your goddamn brains off, and enjoy this movie because it's a fun ride from beginning to end, in my opinion.
I watched this not knowing anything about it besides Nicolas Cage versus Chuck E. Cheese creatures. I didn't know he didn't talk. But as the movie progressed, I'm like, okay, he's not going to talk. And I didn't mind because I was just so mesmerized by whatever the fuck this was supposed to be. The constant like energy drinks, the pinball, the fact that he didn't seem to be concerned about any of this. They were just in his way. Like, who is this guy? And
Constantly changing shirts.
yeah, it was very entertaining. And, it's one of those movies that just makes you appreciate Cage's range. Yeah, I'm glad you had this. I kind of forgot about this one. This was an earlier in the year movie.
Yeah, I did not. I have the soundtrack on my phone. I was so in love with the music. I really feel hard for this movie. I really, really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Willy's Wonderland. Yeah. I remember when they announced this, I was like, what? Nicolas Cage versus animatronic haunted monsters? Yeah, all right. And then the more I watched Cage, the more I got familiar with who he was as an actor. I'm like, yeah, he can probably make this work. Doesn't sound that crazy anymore.
No, boy. It doesn't. He pulled it off.
Yes, he did. He pulled it off a few times. Pulled it right off. My number 5. My number 5 was another movie I didn't expect to watch. It was another Netflix movie, middle of the year. I watched it as an afterthought. It was the same week as Raya and the Last Dragon. That was a pretty good week. I remember I was doing a sneak preview with Austin and Brianna, and it was back, during the midst of COVID when people, not everyone was comfortable going to the movies or, and we had to kind of work out what we wanted to base the episode around. And Coming to America had come out. Don't worry, that's not the movie. And we were going to do that. But at the last minute, we all decided to change it to this film because this film it resonated with us. Moxie from Netflix and Amy Poehler. A pretty I don't know if it's a comedy, but it's also a pretty serious drama at times. It's a film about this really fucked up high school in the Northeast where the football team is allowed to do whatever they want, especially harass and grope any woman they want. And none of the faculty do anything about it. And this one girl moves in and the football team captain says some offensive shit to her. And she's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why would you say something like that? Like, she fights back and he's surprised and he's like, oh, you're going to be difficult. And it causes this whole thing. And another girl overhears this and is inspired to create a feminist club called Moxie that finally inspires the girls in this school to fight back and stand up against the toxic faculty and the football team. And it's a very good movie. It's very inspiring. It's very satisfying. It's got a killer soundtrack. And I was very surprised. Like, this was such a great watch. I want this to be seen by everybody. It was awesome.
I actually forgot about. I remember I seen the episode title, but I forgot about this movie. I haven't thought about it all year. It's like I forgot it existed and won't lie.
It's Netflix, and frankly, it's not really up your alley. I get it, but it reminded me a lot of Mean Girls. I'm
fully scared enough to admit I like Mean Girls. So
yeah, Mean Girls is funny as hell. Yeah, comedy knows no gender, my friend. But Moxie's definitely a film worth watching.
2022. So
yeah, get woke.
No, I mean, shut the fuck up. No, I definitely won't mind checking it out. It's just so it's so weird with Netflix. It's like the main reason I haven't heard of it, other than seeing your episode title for, is that it seems like after I would say a month or two of something being on Netflix, it just disappears from the site. Like, you never see it up there. So there's so much new content coming out that shit overshadows it. So it's like,
yeah,
if I don't fucking pay attention, and in the case, I think when it came out, I think I was actually in the middle of my deployment. So by the time I got back, that shit was not anywhere on a top 10 of Netflix. It was buried under the fucking algorithm of everything else.
Yeah. Well, how about this? I'll trust you for Shudder releases. You trust me for Netflix releases.
Fair enough.
All right. But yeah, Moxie, good watch. Definitely one that shouldn't be forgotten. You're up next.
Thanks, man. Number 4 is a film that people were kind of demanding, honestly, at least the video game fan base was demanding for quite a while after 6 films of not what they wanted. And yet it comes out and then no one goes to the fucking theater to watch it. So go fuck yourself, fan base. And that would be Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, the goddamn version of the film everyone wanted that loved the video games, but then no one went to go see. Wow, fan base. Way to be loyal. So we're not getting any more of this. Thank you for that. But what I saw, which was a fantastic film that finally showed you what happens when you get a fucking director and a writing team that actually care about the games and actually care about the characters and want to find a way to adapt it to movie, to the screen. And to me, they pulled it off. They did such a great balance of one, first off, making it scary. It's a horror film, not an action film. It's horror off the bat. And the way they utilize a lot of the characters, I know some fans who did see it had issues with how some characters from the games were portrayed and stuff. But I like what they did in the sense that like a lot of it was very much like how you remember from the games and how you remember these characters and these monsters, with some stuff changed to add an element of surprise, so it's not a carbon copy. And I like how they did that. To me, everything worked. I thought the monsters looked cool. I like how it was to me in the games where everything just kind of was slowly going back throughout the day. You're seeing the de-evolution of the town as the night progresses, something that the games are very big on. We kind of see like the de-evolution as the game progresses. So that was very much there. Seeing characters like Claire Redfield, Chris Redfield, Leon, like all these fucking awesome characters on the big screen, like, and actually being portrayed to me very accurately. Again, I know Leon was portrayed a lot differently, but I personally liked what the movie did. I know some fans probably don't get all pissy, but I liked it. And even like how what I thought was going to be like a jumbled mess, taking the plot line from the first game and the plot line from the second game and meshing it into one movie, he pulled it off completely. Like it did not seem jumbled, it did not seem fucked up. It seemed like a solid story. And I still stand by the scene I told you about. Or to me, one of the best scenes of the year, of the fucking year, was Chris Redfield trying to get through a horde of zombies. And it's pitch black, and the only thing you fucking see is the flash from his gun when he shoots. That is it. You see the flash, you see a quick thing of fucking zombies in front of him, and he just goes. You just hear him, you hear the zombies, and it's a fucking intense scene. And to me, it should be like talked about more. If the movie doesn't get talked about more because no one fucking saw it, that scene should be talked about more because holy fuck, talk about a tense goddamn scene.
I've been very vocal on this show about how few fucks I give about the Resident Evil franchise, so I don't really have much to say here, but I am glad that you enjoyed it.
I really think you should give at least this film a shot.
I watched the first movie back in the day. I tried to play several of the games. I couldn't get into any of it, so I don't see why.
I mean, you can just give the movie a shot. I'm not saying you have to play the games. Just the movie. Just watch this one movie.
I don't know.
This one movie I'm asking you to watch. God damn it.
You asked me to watch quite a lot.
Yeah, and until you do, and you satisfy me on watching them.
We will see, but probably not. What was that? Was that your 4?
Yes.
My number 4 harkens back to one of your earlier ones, Godzilla versus Kong. Goddamn. I mean, the hype was real. I mean, this was, kind of a make it or break it movie. This was going to determine, like, can the theater still sustain a blockbuster in these trying times? And turns out, yeah, quite well. Because everyone wanted to see Godzilla fight that big monkey. And the fights were satisfying. I loved the fucking Mecha Godzilla reveal was unbelievable. And then the team up of Kong and Godzilla fighting Mecha Godzilla. I mean, as a longtime Godzilla fan, how can you not be just freaking out? And it's fun. It was exciting. It was nice to turn my brain off for a while during the midst of this dark shit. And also it made money. It proved that the theaters could still pull this off. And a lot of movies, I think, came out in 2021 because Godzilla versus Kong was a success.
Yeah.
So it was a good movie for the year and a really exciting film. And just, like you said, who gives a shit about the human characters? We're here to see big lizard fight big monkey. If you're here for any other reason, you are in the wrong theater. Just show yourself out.
Yeah, go watch your trauma for your human character development. Go watch that. Not Godzilla versus Kong. And you're clearly not paying such respect that if you look at it these are CGI characters, right? Our two tower characters. Yet they're expressive. You completely understand their motivations, and they're two CGI'd creatures. One is a big fucking lizard, and one is a big fucking monkey. And yet, it's like if they were characters being portrayed by actual actors. I felt their emotions. I felt their motivations throughout the movie. Like, you got it just by how they were able to make animate their looks to each other and how they moved and stuff. So it was there where it counted.
Well, I also loved that, Mechagodzilla was created by hardwiring King Ghidorah's brain into a metal body, and it immediately woke up as Ghidorah and was like, "I remember you," and went after Godzilla. That was cool. There were so many great moments in this movie. Oh, I mean, just jump starting Kong's heart with an electric car plane thing. Okay, sure. Hollow Earth, why not? I'm into this. I accepted so much crazy bullshit because this was so fun.
Yeah, and that's why sometimes when people want to make these pay comments, I'm like, can't look. No film. Ultimately, no film is perfect. Or there's very few that I would consider perfect. Very few.
Yeah.
Most films have flaws of some kind, but guess what? If you like it enough, if it's fun enough, stop fucking nitpicking. Turn your brain off and enjoy. There's nothing wrong with that. And in case of Godzilla versus Kong, that's exactly what they were promising you in the trailer, and it's what they delivered. A movie to turn your brain off, watch the two biggest iconic monsters of cinema duke it out, and just have a fun time. And it delivered exactly that.
You mentioned turning your brain off and just enjoying something. So few people have the ability to do that. One of my all-time favorite theater moments was when I saw Godzilla King of the Monsters in 2019 by myself. And when Godzilla came back to life after getting the nuclear boost, and he comes out of the ocean and his fucking iconic theme starts playing, I got goosebumps, and I had a moment of fuck yeah, get that three-headed son of a bitch. I really got into that. So you got to have those moments. You got to have these movies that aren't just, self-serious melodramatic shit. I mean, sometimes you just want to watch two big monsters fight and team up to fight a bigger monster. Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, and ultimately that's the whole fun of the summer movie season. Because like you said, there's nothing wrong with the self-serious film. Something wrong with the Oscar. Every type of film has a place. It really does. So there's nothing wrong with having a moment be I want to watch a film that makes me think. I want to watch a film that challenges me, Requiem for a Dream, right? When I watched that, I went into going I want to watch this film and I know it's going to challenge me, but I want to see it. And it's a great movie. But then I can turn around and watch something like Godzilla versus Kong, or Vicious Fun, really swimmingly, and just be I want to turn my brain off and enjoy what they fucking give me, and have fun.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. My top 4 are all fun movies. So I think we're in the top 3 now. What do you got?
Yeah, well, speaking of fun, and the last horror film on my list. So to give you a hint as to our 2 and 1 lead, I think really 2. We know what 1 is. But for number 3, the film I was super, super, super looking forward to because of who was attached to direct in the horror genre. One of the greatest modern directors living, in my opinion, who's had several franchises under his belt and got the okay to make the most bonkers, original, out there fucking movie he would make. That is James Wan's *Malignant*. thank you to the studio for allowing this film to get made. This was a movie that they clearly had to advertise in a certain way to get people in, because what you got is unlike anything Ron has done. It is a bonkers film from that opening fucking scene when the doctor's getting handed the shotgun to shoot the patient. You're like, okay, this is the type of film I'm in for. Got it. And the rock music plays, which for me, like I've talked about, like things that kind of like that make me nostalgic, certain things that, you know, watching film make nostalgic. And that's actually one of those things when like that Dark Castle kind of did a lot in the late 90s, early 2000s, but like when like rock music was like, or metal would get played during the horror films, like opening title sequence or the end credits, something I missed. And to hear that music play when they were doing the title sequence, I was like, oh my God, this is going, okay. And the whole film, like from the crazy shit that's happening throughout, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like the Giallo influences are very evident and clear throughout the film. And then, you know, I think the biggest thing, and might as well just go on and get to it, that, you know, the movie, the moment that became like the talk of the town, that I literally all weekend, that's all I heard about was the fucking ending to this movie. And after seeing it, holy shit, I can see why. When you look, I'm going to ruin it now because I'm assuming if you're listening, you've seen it. But you're like, if you have a friend in your life that hasn't seen this film and they're interested, do not tell them how this fucking film is. For the love of God, do not tell them. Because the moment you get to the prison and the reveal starts to hit, holy shit. I had guessed at least half of what I saw. I'm never thinking like there's some kind of twin involved. I think that's as far as I got. What I saw though, like the ultimate like thing, I didn't guess that. Like the ultimate like robe, it's like the tumor on the back of her fucking head or whatever, like the row they get fully cut off. I didn't guess that much. But that prison sequence was one of the most bonkers, insane, awesome, fun sequences this year in horror, as far as I'm concerned. Seeing her like rip through people's stomach, dodging fucking bullets out of nowhere, like yeah, like oh my God, I could watch that scene like ad nauseum all day and not at any point not be entertained. James Wan just went for broke. He was clearly ruining his influence on Sleep. He was taking advantage of the fact that he had all this clout to get a film like this made. And look, you know, for all the people that are sitting there bitching that nothing original gets made in Hollywood, when James Wan can make a franchise, you give him so much money that he was able to sequelize Saw, sequelize Insidious, and sequelize The Conjuring, and you kept getting those films, but then he does something like Malignant and it doesn't do as hot. Stop bitching that you're not getting original films, because you got something pretty fucking original. And again, you didn't go out and try to see it. I'm sure it made a good amount off its HBO Max streams, but yeah, like if you haven't seen this film or you have someone you know who has seen this, show them this film, but do not tell them the fucking ending.
Yeah, this was a bonkers one. Not at all what I expected, but leave it to James Wan to continually just rewrite the fucking horror movie template and give us the craziest shit again and again and again. He is a very talented filmmaker. And this was just, I said, what the fuck audibly like 3 times. It was just insane and good. So yeah, Malignant. I'm really surprised. So that was the last horror movie on your list, huh?
Yeah.
I can't believe that Candyman and Halloween didn't make it on either of our lists.
Yeah, Candyman, Halloween, and Spiral, I wrote down, and I was like, no.
Wow.
But I could not put Malignant. Like, I would not live with myself if I didn't put this on, because I fucking adore this movie and just its go for broke aesthetic. And like I said, I know James Wan, like I love the comments he was making before the movie when he was like, when I did Saw, I became a Saw guy. When I did Insidious, I was an Insidious guy. When I did Conjuring, I was a Conjuring guy. He's like, I want to reinvent. I want to do something different. He's like, I don't like putting myself in a box. And he's like, I remember he says like, I think people wanting something original, they want something different. And he goes, that's what I want to give them.
Yeah, for sure. I love it when he steps out of horror. He delivers $2 billion box office hits with Furious 7 and Aquaman.
Yeah.
He's the man.
Yeah, except apparently Vin Diesel didn't want it back, but DC's like, do you want to do Aquaman 2? Please?
God, what an idiot that man is. Not James Wan, Vin Diesel. My number 3 is, once again, goes back to you, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I had such high hopes for this. I've been a lifelong Ghostbusters fan. And I just was really hoping this was going to be a redemption for that shitty 2016 movie, and B, respectful to Harold Ramis. And it was both and so much more. And yeah, it is, it rehashes the first Ghostbusters a little bit with Gozer and all that shit. But I liked that shit. I liked seeing Gozer again. I liked seeing Zool again. I liked the little mini Stay Puffs. I liked seeing all that shit again. It made me happy. And the new stuff, the new cast was fantastic. The whole, Egon moves to the Midwest because evil's coming and all that. Like, I liked all that. And, the podcast kid made me laugh so much. I loved Paul Rudd constantly putting on horror movies, like super crazy 80s horror movies for the summer school kids. That was a great recurring joke. The ghost effects are really good. I thought the effects on Harold Ramis, like it looked really good, and I liked the way they did that. He's a ghost. This is a very touching movie, a really cool movie. I loved seeing J.K. Simmons for like 2 seconds as Shandor. I was like, why is he here? Oh, he's dead.
I was like, I took him. I was like, oh shit, J.K. and he's gone. Okay.
And then fucking Gozer is an uncredited Olivia Wilde, which is crazy.
Yeah, I did not know that. I mean, I can see it now. Like, I'm thinking like, oh, how did I miss that? But yeah,
I remember thinking like, it looks like Olivia Wilde, but I'm like, it's probably not. I had that happen to me actually. Just quick side note: I watched Collateral for the first time yesterday, and there's a character in that movie who's this Mexican drug lord, and I saw him and I'm like, oh shit, wow, he's like diet Javier Bardem. And then he started talking and I'm like, wait a minute. And I looked it up and it fucking was Javier Bardem. It was like a young 2004 Javier Bardem. And I'm like, well, shit, he's aged like wine. Anyway. Yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife really pulled out all the stops to be a great passing of the torch movie and a great legacy film for the original team. And I just couldn't get enough. I want more, but I'd be understandable if we don't get more. This is a good cap.
Yeah. Like if we don't get more, fine. I'm all about ending on a high note. But yeah, I'd be totally down for not, like I said, I would follow this new cast into a new movie. Like 100%. I really like them.
Yeah. Straight up. There's something strange in the neighborhood. I know exactly who I'm going to call now.
Winchester?
Yeah, I would call them first. They're going to get this shit done quick.
Yeah.
All right. Your number 2.
My number 2 goes back to you. And that's James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Like many, I cannot stand Suicide Squad. Their first movie. When people tell me they like it, I sit there thinking, I don't know what you liked. I have questions. Like, please explain to me, other than like Will Smith's Deadshot, Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, what you liked about that movie. Oh, and Amanda Waller. I liked Amanda Waller. I was like, besides those three, what? This film though, if you tell me you didn't like it, I have questions as well. I'm like, this was so much better. It's like you said, he didn't, to his credit, he didn't completely shit on the original film. He did have it still very much be like, it's a sequel to that film happened. Like, he's not ignoring it. But he took characters that did work and brought them back, like Harley Quinn, like Amanda Waller. And like you said, he took someone like Rick Flag and showed us that Joel Kinnaman actually just got handed a shitty script. And that he actually really is good at this character. I really liked Rick Flag. I was genuinely sad when he killed Rick Flag off. I was like, no, I like him.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised at that. Like, how do you? He's a character who is so fucking white bread bland in the first movie, but here you care. And it's, James Gunn, like you said, he didn't shit on the first movie. James Gunn had every opportunity and reason to shit on that movie, to badmouth Disney, but he never did because he's a class act. And I love that about him.
And you mentioned like how he can make us love these characters like Polka Dot Man, or like my personal favorite was King Shark. Like I fucking adored King Shark in this movie. But it's because he knows how to take obscure characters and infuse them with heart. And that's the key. I don't think a lot of people like pick up on. He's like, yes, he has a lot of outrageous humor that's put in there. I mean, he's in his heart, he's a trauma guy. You know, that's how you gotta start. And I'm sure you caught it. I know I watched it multiple times with Lloyd Kaufman. You know, cameos in this as well. So at his heart, he is that. He is going to put outrageous humor and just in the movie and push it as far as he can, especially with the PG-13, or in this case, he had the R rating to go full on with. But he's also good at giving you a lot of heart. For every funny moment, like when he just was just yelling "fuck you" to his daughter, and I'm dying, or like the scene where they go in the camp and they're having the fight about who can kill more creatively. Yeah, it was just that. Like for every scene like that, you get really great scenes with King Shark that humanize him, with in the bus with Idris Elba and Ratcatcher 2, and they're like having that discussion. You get a lot of great scenes like that, or like even like the nuanced friendship of Rick Flag and Harley Quinn. Like Rick Flag's the one that tells them, "No, we gotta go get Harley." Like no one else gave a shit. They were like, "Yeah, we go to mission," but as soon as he heard she's alive, he's like, "No, we gotta go get her." And then I remember when he died, and she finds out, she's like, "He was my friend." Like there was a genuine friendship there, and it's just like it's his ability to do that, like give you like this really funny out there humor that just makes you die laughing, but it makes it with so much heart. It's great.
Yeah, that was one of the most enjoyable theater experiences of the year for me. I just couldn't stop laughing, and got emotional too.
I still laugh when they're like trying to rescue Harley. And she's like, "Oh, hey guys," and like hit Rick Flag's face. It's just like, what? But we were going to save you, and it was a really good plan. And oh, I can go back, and you guys can do it. No, it's too late now. And I looked at yourself. Well, that's just patronizing.
My favorite moment, hands down, was after the kill off between Bloodsport and Peacemaker, when Bloodsport tells him nobody likes to show off. And he's like, except when what we're showing off is dope as fuck. And he's like, God, fuck, he's right.
I like the payoff to that joke when they go and they're like, "Why did my men not alert anyone? Or why did my men not alert me?" They're just like,
I love that Polka Dot Man just kept seeing his mom as everybody.
God, even as sad as I was when I said it was funny. I mean, he's like, "I'm a fucking superhero."
I love seeing Star of the Conqueror. Like that's a character I never thought I'd see on the big screen. And here he is just as a ridiculous over the top alien starfish. And it's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. I loved Idris Elba's fear of rats. That scream he did when the rats standing there offering him the thief. Like, why are you in your underwear?
I love when
kill any woman or child for freedom.
I love when they wake up and King Shark's about to eat Ratcatcher 2. And they're like, "Hey, put her down." And she's completely asleep. She didn't even notice.
Bird. Who gave you 90 comps?
Oh God. Yeah.
Like he was running around, "Friends," in the aquarium.
Oh boy. God, I might watch that tonight just for kicks. It's such a great movie.
I love when King Shark's trying to do his disguise, and he's holding up his finger to do a mustache. It's like, "No, it's not working, man." And he gets like legitimately mad and huffs off.
I can't believe James Gunn got Stallone to do that. Like that was perfect.
Yeah, like
Fucking Sly as King Shark.
I love he got Calendar Man, who was his brother, to call him call Polka Dot Man a pussy. That was great.
I love when that one like CIA person just fucking decks Waller with a keyboard and takes control of the mission. And then later she's got an ice pack on her.
I love it when she's making the team. She's like, all of you have unique and different abilities. And she details everything about Peacemaker and Idris Elba. I thought you said we all have unique, different abilities.
It's like, it's the same shit. He's like, yeah, but I'm better. Oh, praise to John Cena for just being a funny son of a bitch. He is, this year, especially with Suicide Squad and Vacation Friends, he has been just consistently hilarious.
I've stood by that. That man excels in comedy so much because he knows how to just like have fun. Like he knows how to just fucking go with it and have a lot of fun. To the point that like it was like noticeable he was almost uncomfortable with Fat F9 and not cracking jokes. Like it was weird. It was like, come on, like this guy's funny. Like you lost The Rock and you're not getting him back. So like have him crack jokes. Have him fucking realize what he's done.
I mean, I wonder, since obviously John Cena is about to be, he's already a big box office draw. People love him. So he's clearly going to get fired from the F franchise because he's upstaging Vin Diesel. So who's the next wrestler that Vin's going to get to be second banana and then upstage him?
I would say Batista, but I feel like Batista's already becoming a bigger draw than Vin Diesel as well.
Yeah, he would never stoop that low at this point. No. Wish Macho Man was still alive.
Macho Man, Randy Savage.
I got a secret brother, and off screen you just hear, "Oh yeah." That's all you need to know, and you're like, "Oh shit."
I would actually watch the shit out of that.
I would too, in a heartbeat.
I feel like give him all of the dialogue because, as we know, Macho Man didn't know how a human talks or functioned because he was constantly on coke.
Yeah, I'm sure he once tested for blood in his coke system at some point. Like the guy was just like just on 24/7. I miss him. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, Suicide Squad. I also love the opening. I love how this film pulls the rug out from you in the opening and makes you think like, oh, this is the squad that we're following. And then it's like, actually, no, we're killing the shit out of this one. It's actually the squad over here.
It's the B team. That was crazy.
Yeah. Oh, God, such a good movie. That was a good movie.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. That's that was your 2?
Yes.
All right, my 2 is one of the most badass westerns I've seen in a very long time, and the best movie Netflix put out this year, The Harder They Fall. God damn.
Isn't Idris Elba in this one also?
He's the bad guy.
God, he had a fucking banger year.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's this crazy ass crime boss who runs this free black town in the West somewhere, and they all fear him. And he is like, he killed Jonathan Majors' family, so Jonathan Majors is after him the whole movie, and he like robs Elba's gang and steals like 50 grand from them, and they demand like, you are going to give us that money back or we're going to murder so many people. It's such a badass movie. The soundtrack is epic. The entire cast is fully loaded, and every character is a standout. This was fun. This was a fun movie. I really enjoyed this. I want more people to watch it. I want to talk about it more. I'm probably going to pick this as a film in the next few months for the Filmgazm podcast, because I want to revisit it and talk about it at length. Yeah, this was so cool. Would have been my number 1 had I not seen the next movie.
So this has been one that's been on my radar. I've heard a lot of people who've seen it praise it. Talk about how much fun it is, and like I keep hearing like the term like hopefully this is what westerns will be moving forward. So how much people have been loving it. So I'm like I'm interested definitely in seeing this one. Plus I like the cast. Like I've seen Lovecraft Country, so like, and obviously it's turning Loki. big Jonathan Majors. Like that guy is a fucking talent on the rise as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, in this movie, I had only seen his brief bit in Loki, and I was like, oh, this is all right, Kang, okay. Now I saw this, I'm like, fucking Kang, bring it on. Like I love Jonathan Majors now just from that movie. So
dude, he knows how to be charismatic and like draw you in. He's fucking like there's some magnetism to him when he plays a role.
Yeah. I mean, you got him, you've got Delroy Lindo as this like seasoned marshal who's like trying to get Idris Elba for his own reasons. You've got Lakeith Stanfield, it's like the fastest gun in the West, who's this like charismatic but super twisted guy who's like, don't try it, I will kill you. Because people were constantly coming up to him and being like, you really that fast? He's like, yeah, I am that fast. And it's crazy. Just thinking about it, I'm like, oh, goddamn, it's so entertaining. Regina King, Zazie Beetz. I'm sure I'm leaving some people out.
Idris
But
Elba,
this,
obviously.
yeah, Idris Elba, obviously. And it's crazy. Like the heist to get him free is so crazy just because how, like, under how much lock and key he's under. The point where you're like, who is this guy? And it's like the payoff is real. Like he really does he's a force of nature and how fucking sadistic he is.
To quote Hobbs and Shaw, he's the Black Superman.
He's the Black Superman. Oh yeah. It's an awesome movie. I encourage everybody to check it out. Yeah, like I love a good Western that knows how to be fun, because there's so many Westerns out there that try to like change the genre or try to be, super dramatic, and those are good too. But sometimes I just like a good old fashioned, Once Upon a Time in the West kind of thing,
I like something where I will say, just for me personally, like, I'm a big fan of spaghetti Western, so I like an action-packed, fun Western, because to me it's just like, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. Like I have the serious ones I can watch. Like I'm currently watching the Yellowstone spinoff, 1883. It's an actual restaurant. Sam Elliott, who, by the way, like quick side note, he is fucking crushing it in that show. Holy shit, Sam Elliott. Like he's always been great, but wow.
Cool.
I'm seriously blown away. I've never like but there is a room for like that serious military type restaurant. There are good ones, but I'm more inclined to watch something like an Italian spaghetti Western, or like something like the Harley Fall, where they're having fun, it's action packed, because there's some out like watching those Westerns that's more inviting to me.
Yeah, well, also this is a film, there's so few Black Westerns out there that don't deal with slavery, and this film doesn't. This is a film about every character in this movie is based on an actual Black outlaw in history. All the character names are taken from actual history books of people who are kind of erased from history. And this movie reclaims their identities. And I love that. Like it's built on real stories, real legends of the West. And that's what we need more of. The truth is always so much stranger than fiction. And this movie is exaggerated, but it's built on a foundation of history. And that's just fucking fantastic. So I got nothing but praise for this movie.
Okay, yeah, this was on. I need to check this one out. Like legit, check this one out. Is it safe to say that we can just go ahead and say our number one together? Because I feel like we both have the same number one.
Well, that depends. Did you love Cop Shop as much as I did? just kidding.
I liked Cop Shop. I did enjoy it, but.
Yeah, we're very much on the same page. And if you've been listening to the past few weeks, this is not a secret.
No. So I think it's safe to say that I'll say for both of us, both of our number one, it's Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yep, you would be correct.
I sure said a really shitty movie just to throw you off.
Yep. Gunpowder Milkshake. You nailed it. Yep.
Got it. No Sudden Move, number one, of course.
Oh, God. Ice Road.
That was almost on my top. You know what? That was a little entertaining.
False Positive.
Oh, boy.
But we've seen so many movies this year. Fuck. Spider-Man. Our only to date 3-hour episode. So that should tell you right there how much we had to say about this movie.
'Cause we are the champions. I'm gonna leave it at that, purposely off key because I don't want to get sued by Queen anytime soon. Um, also, I can't sing, so it helps. But yeah, go on.
It was an experience. I mean, this was a film I like unlike anything I've ever seen. And I think about Marvel. I was thinking about this earlier today. When I saw the Avengers in 2012, I remember thinking, this is the greatest cinematic achievement I've ever seen. I remember thinking, oh my God, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Hawkeye, Black Widow, the Hulk together. Oh my God, nothing will ever top this. And then I saw Infinity War. And I'm like, Thanos, Infinity Stones, half the universe is dead. I will never see anything that awesome again. And then I saw Endgame. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? They brought everybody back and they're all fighting Thanos and his army at the same time. Holy fuck. Captain America's lifting the hammer.
You said the line Avengers Assemble. Oh my God.
What? I'll never see anything this badass again. And then I saw 3 generations of Spider-Man fight the Sinister Five, as I'm calling them, on the Statue of Liberty. And I said it again, and I'm like, no studio has ever made me say that multiple times. And this is just unbelievable.
Not only just like you see them fight, but you get complete story arcs. That's why I'm getting kind of pissed off and annoyed. Everyone's like, make Spider-Man 4, make this Amazing Spider-Man 3. First off, you fuckers didn't even like the first 2, so fuck off having this renewed fucking love. Like, and it's not going to happen. These actors were going to come back for this movie. They're not doing a whole movie after this. But also the reason it makes me mad is because you're ignoring the fact that you got complete arcs in this movie with those 2. It's like people are ignoring that, but you got complete conclusions to their character. I mean, you had, in the case of like, Tony Maguire, you got that line where he said, me and MJ made it work. It was like, oh, even if they're not married, they're together. And like, you got that satisfaction of like, because admittedly, like, their relationship was rocky, all 3 fucking films. So getting that fucking confirmation was like, oh, thank you. Yes. And obviously the bigger one for a lot of people that got cheers out of the fucking audience the first time I saw this mix up. I saw it twice in theaters. I don't know about you. But the first time was when Andrew Garfield for Spider-Man saves MJ. Like, their ability to do that and conclude these story arcs and find ways to, again, we talked about with Endgame, but fan service in the best possible way, whether it be that or like for me, and and how much I freaked out and kind of like had my little boy squeal was when Tobey Maguire met Doc Ock for the first time. They started playing the theme song, and he was like, "Peter, my boy," like the dialogue was so pitch perfect to that movie, and I almost kind of teared up when he was like, "I'm trying to do better," and I was like,
I didn't realize that was a throwback line from Spider-Man 2. Like when Peter met Octavius for the first time, and Octavius tells like, Dr. Connors told me you're brilliant, but you're lazy. Peter tells him, I'm trying to do better. I didn't realize that was a throwback. It's like or a callback. Beautiful.
Marvel, like, it paid off so much stuff. The banter amongst them was great. It led to some really humorous moments, I thought, and Andrew Garfield, like look, my heart will always be with Tony Maguire because of the age I saw the first film, how much those first 2 films mean to me. But boy, did he fucking just bring it when he was in that movie. He was fucking hilarious. And even before that, even like it just taking that aspect away, this was still a fucking tight, good film.
Yeah.
Like the arc, it takes you along for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Like, I've always thought like Tom Holland is a really good actor, and I do feel unfortunate that like kind of like Daniel, like a lot, like Daniel Radcliffe, right? Took forever for him to really break out of the Harry Potter thing. I'm watching the reunion, so this is a little bit more fresh in my mind. And he's finally kind of people. Yeah, a lot of people still see him as Harry Potter, but he can do other shit now a lot easier. I do think that sucks with Tom Holland that he seems to be having that same issue where too many people just see him as Spider-Man. I don't think that's a him issue. That's you as an audience not realizing that they're fucking actors anyway. They can act, they do stuff. but what he in this movie, he really fucking brings it. I mean, I both times, and I knew it was coming the second time, so it was my second time watching it. The Aunt May scene, god damn, like his performance really sold like the grief and the sadness when he's like, "Come on, wake up!" and he's like trying to wake her up. Like, just the way he does that, it's fucking beautiful and depressing. He aces it. He brings it so much to this movie.
I just love that none of it felt forced. Like everyone was like, are we going to see more Spider-Man? Like, are we going to see the old villains? Is Daredevil going to be in it? And it was yes on all counts, but none of it felt like, all right, fine here. It was all organic. It all mattered to the story. And that is the best part. It was just a constant, well-told story that just happened to have some incredible fan service moments in it.
Yeah.
I will never. Yeah.
I was going to say, even Daredevil, like, you could argue that might, for some people, feel like the most like cameo in like for the fan type moment. But if you have seen the Daredevil show and you've seen all 3 seasons, they finally get their clout at the end of season 3. Like that was one of the big things, was they finally became a lot more recognized because of they're dealing with Wilson Fisk in that season, who, again, really good week, by the way, from Oliver, if you watched Hawkeye, because that left a huge bomb leading into fucking Spider-Man. But like that was a big end for the series, was they finally became like a legitimate law firm that people went to. So it makes sense that when they said we need a really good lawyer, Matt Murdock, he has that legitimacy now. Mm-hmm. So even that was like a little moment like that,
Yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home was an experience. I'll never forget seeing that movie for the first time, just having this like, I had such high expectations. Everyone did. And I think some of us were worried that it might not deliver, that there's no way they were going to pull off a multiversal Spider-Man movie in live action. But not only did they pull it off, they blew those expectations out of the water and delivered the greatest film of the year, one of the most incredible comic book movies of all time, and the definitive Spider-Man movie. So, number 1.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, this film completely blew me away. And I'm glad I saw it second time, because I got it, second time the crowd was a lot more quiet. I was able to really like watch it, and everything I felt the first time stayed, even without the same crowd experience. But even kind of going back to that, it was so satisfying that this was a movie that got people to come back to theaters in troves. Like, yes, I know we also said, like, as everyone's talking, there was a lot of blockbusters before this that did it. I know No Time to Die made a lot of money, so people were going in to see the new Bond. But this was the one that really got people to come back. And, in a year that's been marked by big-time directors wanting to have their 2 cents said about how they feel about the comic book movies, right? I know I said on that, but, as much as I like a film like Goodfellas or The Revenant, those aren't going to get huge audience reactions. Let's just be honest. Like, they'll laugh at the jokes. Besides that, you're not going to get a huge audience reaction. To be in a theater, and this, I mean, the point is, like, this is why I go to theaters, right? And why I enjoy the theater experience. To go to a movie like this on its opening night and be with a crowd where everyone's on the same page of excitement, and to get excited and cheer when Matt Murdock popped up, when the Spider-Man popped up, when the collective like silence when Aunt May died, like that kind of audience reaction, that kind of participation, that's why I go to theaters. And that's why I get so annoyed when they fucking want to shit on these superhero films, because I'm like, that's what a film's supposed to do to me. It's get me on the same page. It's why I love seeing horror films in the theater, because super films, horror films, and comedy, genre shit has led to some of the best theater experiences in my life. Every time.
Right. Same here, man. Same here. I'll never forget when we went and saw a double feature of 21 and 22 Jump Street when that came out. And we were both like nearly dead from laughing so hard at Ice Cube finding out Jonah Hill was banging his daughter. Like moments like that, you savor, you remember them, you keep them, you keep them close. Like, Austin and I going to see The Burbs and laughing our asses off at that hilarious movie. Like a theater experience matters. It's a significant part of a movie fan's life. And I love that Spider-Man resurrected that for some people. It brought that back. It was $1 billion grosser in a pandemic when people were saying the theaters were dead. And now they've got more life than they've had in years. And I really hope this year reflects that. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to say yes, they're going to.
I think it will, based off the first crowd reaction when they played again, if you're watching this, I'm hoping you've seen the damn movies we're talking about. When they played the sizzle of the trailer for Doctor Strange 2, people were cheering. Like, the audience just was like, oh yeah. Like, I mean, it was just like the same reaction we had for like 2.5 hours of Spider-Man they gave to this fucking trailer for Doctor Strange. So like, I think if anything, this reignited that kind of love. And I think, because like for me personally, like I thought the films that Marvel has been kind of hit and miss this year. Like I said, I already said what I said about Black Widow. I really like Shang-Chi. It was in my top 10. Personally, I thought Eternals was a big fucking misstep, and I wasn't the biggest fan. But like, this film delivered, if anything, like if they can keep that train going, like I think they're in for a good year with their films, with them alone, and hopefully with everything else that's coming out as well.
Fuck yeah. That's a good way to end this, I think. Let's go ahead and recap our lists. You go first.
All right. 10, Godzilla versus Kong. 9, Wolves Within. 8, Ghostbusters Afterlife. 7, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. 6, God, that tower takes it out on me. 6, Vicious Fun. 5, Willy's Wonderland. 4, Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. 3, Malignant. 2, The Suicide Squad. Gotta say it's like The Fast and The Furious. And then 1, Spider-Man No Way Home.
And mine, number 10, The Mitchells versus the Machines. Number 9, Coda. Number 8, Pig. Number 7, Raya and the Last Dragon. Number 6, The Suicide Squad. Number 5, Moxie. Number 4, Godzilla versus Kong. Number 3, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Number 2, The Harder They Fall. Number 1, Spider-Man No Way Home. Take it from us. That is the best of 2021. And we know we put in the work.
Yes. And look, and no, I know there's probably gonna be some, again, to keep in mind, these lists we make are subjective, the personal lists.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of films that I like that didn't make, like I really like No Time to Die. That if you're a James Bond fan, check that damn film out. It is so good. The only reason it didn't make it was because I do have my issues with the villain and Rami Malek. I think he is incredibly fucking underwhelming.
You know how big a Bond fan I am, and I liked it a lot, but yeah, it didn't make my top 10, and that was a shock to me personally, because I had a lot of expectations with that. It was really good, but it's the fucking villain. A Bond villain is crucial to a Bond movie's success, as far as I'm concerned. And I couldn't get into it. I really liked Licorice Pizza. That was very good. Paul Thomas Anderson's new movie. I happen to enjoy Dune. I know a lot of people didn't. Belfast was really good. So there was a lot of stuff this year that was really good. But, we only got 10 slots, and we want to reserve those for films that, stuck with us. And
like for example, I had like I said, I had Spiral, Quiet Place 2. I actually had Pig written down. Last Night in Soho. I'm really pissed that people didn't go see that fucking movie. Black Friday. I get really mad when like good movies come out, and especially when people are bitching about nothing original coming out. And almost consistently, every original film that came out this year bombed at the goddamn box office. Last Night in Soho, Antlers, Nightmare Alley. I'm like, stop bitching about something original that you want if you're not going to go fucking see it in the theaters, and show the studios that that's what you want. Again, I know all the studios can do some better marketing on their end, but still, that's what you can do for an audience.
I mean, we knew it was happening. Like, as far, we put our money where our mouth is. We saw the original stuff. We saw the sequels. We saw the reboots. We saw the blockbusters, but we saw the indie stuff too. This is the show for what's happening now. And that is it's good to have a good balance, a good variety.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, obviously it's using so much, but for those of you complaining, like, show them with your money. Obviously, like, by all means, go watch Spider-Man No Way Home, but also go see Nightmare Alley. Go watch, or if you're a big Fast and Furious fan, go watch F9, but go watch Antlers. Like, show them that you want award for both, because when you're showing like when an original film flops, but like the big franchise one does well, that shows them that that's what they need to keep doing and not the original.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. Like show support, like and then like I said, like also look on indie on the streamer. So like I said, Vicious Fun is a Shudder movie. Like it what didn't get wide release. It played a few festivals, went to Shudder. So like look on the streamer. Sometimes they got good stuff.
Yep. Good advice. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you like what we do, you can always follow us on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Filmgazm Productions. You can email us at filmgazm@gmail.com. If you want to send us a suggestion, some hate mail, whatever you want. You can always visit the website, filmgazm.com. We got daily reviews, articles, upcoming trailers for stuff, that all sorts of stuff that's coming out. We do not discriminate by genre. If you want to support us, you can always click on support this podcast, throw us some green. We'd appreciate that, but not necessary. Next week, the releases of 2022 officially start for us. It's going to be kind of a soft intro to 2022. In theaters, we've got The 355, an all-female action thriller starring Diane Kruger, Penelope Cruz, Jessica Chastain, Lupita Nyong'o, and Bing Bing Fan. That's a great cast. However, it is directed by Simon Kinberg, who I believe is a fucking hack. So I'm on the fence. I'm going to wait for the reviews. Simon Kinberg is the guy who fucked up the Phoenix Saga twice. So yeah. I'm done with him.
Yeah, he does give me hope. And like we kind of talked about before we recorded, we got this movie ad nauseum like last year. So the fact that literally this is what they're starting with, I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, I'm not. I gave up when Kate came out on Netflix. I'm like, all right, I'm not doing this for the fifth time. So I'm going to probably skip this one unless the reviews are like through the roof. Then on Prime Video, we've got The Tender Bar, a coming-of-age drama directed by George Clooney and starring Ty Sheridan, Ben Affleck, Lily Rabe, and Christopher Lloyd, among others. It's getting pretty eviscerated. Currently sits at a 50% Rotten Tomatoes score. So again, I'm on the fence. Not a good start. Looks like Dump You Aries alive and well.
Look, you know me. I'm mostly really only caring about Scream. I think Morbius actually comes out the week after or 2 weeks after. Yeah. So those are the two I want to see. More so Scream. Morbius, I'm just it's a curiosity. Like I want that to be good, but like especially now that No Way Home came out, when that film was supposed to be originally released, what they've dropped in the trailer with like Michael Keaton coming back as Vulture, like I'm just curious what the fuck's even going on with the movie.
Same.
But Scream, I'm all in for. God damn, am I all in for Scream? That trailer rocks as far as I'm concerned. Like you said, I know you mentioned it. It legit shivers with you when he says, "Hello, Sydney. It's an honor." It's like, oh God.
That freaks me out, and like 6'5" Ghostface freaks me out.
They get a whole actor, like God damn.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a trick of the camera or if that guy's just huge, but I'm excited. So next week, we'll probably be doing some kind of countdown, ranking, draft, something more fun. Don't miss Killer Clowns from Outer Space on Wednesday's Filmgazm, the premiere episode of Beyond the Bad this Friday with Batman and Robin, and the iconic 1994 drama The Shawshank Redemption on Oscar Sunday. As always, have a great week, but more importantly, have a great year and keep watching movies.